You're on.
Okay, we'll open this meeting of November 14th, 2013. Time being 1:55. Let the record show that all selectmen are present. We have some special guests here today, David and Barbara Barbuto. They have come here today particularly to donate towards our Thanksgiving baskets that we try to help each year with, particularly important this year because we're a little low on the donations as they're coming in. So I welcome Mr. and Mrs. Barbuto to come on up and do you want to say anything, or you go?
We're here from Tilton Trailer and Breakout Tool Company, which are located right here in town, and we're very happy to donate $500 to help the people of Tilton meet their needs for a wonderful Thanksgiving. It's certainly a pleasure to help out, and we're glad to do our part in making their holiday just a little bit better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We can't thank you enough, so I really, really appreciate your contribution, and hopefully this will help others come forward and help out as well, so
Let's hope
That would
so.
be wonderful.
from our heart to yours, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll get a picture in the front here.
Oh, for everybody.
Everybody
Yeah, sure.
board.
Here, Kathy, stand.
Come on this side.
Stand right there.
I'm tall.
No, you're not. We're both taller than you are. Come on. Can we get somebody?
Sandy, come on over here.
Oh, okay.
Kevin's gonna hide in the back.
No, she's not.
I'm gonna be right here with you.
Yeah.
I should be so lucky.
That's all right.
There. 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
What's that? I've never liked pictures.
Yeah, I've never been that crazy about it, but hey,
So much.
it goes with the territory.
I know. Wonderful.
It isn't for lack of interest,
All
it's
right.
just time. You're a busy lady too, and I know,
I want to...
sometime we'll do this. That'd be fun. You're busy when things calm down a little bit. Yeah, I look, I won't make this year. but
Equal opportunity.
I'd love to give these away for presents, you know?
Okay.
All right, then listen,
Anytime.
I don't forget.
It's a date.
We will, yeah,
a date.
we will, you know?
Our pleasure.
Glad to see you. Okay.
2 of these. Oh, 2 weeks.
Take care. Take care. Enjoy a wonderful holiday.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
Sure Heather gets this cat. I'll put it in her box because she may be stopping in.
We're gonna do...
What?
Oh, good.
I just gave somebody free
I got it waiting
advertising
for you. I didn't want to
space.
interrupt you. Okay, budget. Thank you, Roger. Do we have the latest?
Waiting for Tim to bring it.
I'd do it.
Did he give you this? Nope. Do you want to put a call to Tim and see if he's ready?
Yeah, well, I'm doing it already, Sandy.
I'll get mine.
Okay.
I get mine.
I don't know where your budget book is.
Wait.
I'll get it. I got it. Over there somewhere. I'll get it. You're so in her little plan through the zoning documents. Isn't this? Yeah.
Okay.
Was it like a bribe?
Is there anything you want me to come down and get now, or? Yeah. All right, I'll come down and get it. You're sending it to the big printer? Or
You want me to go get it, Joyce?
I'll go.
Yeah, he's gonna do these first, and then he'll have the
Right,
budget.
and that's going to be in the Conica? Yeah.
Yeah, but he's gotta put it on yellow paper, so check with him first and see. We put this on yellow because it's our health stuff,
Yep.
to make it stand out.
So he's printing it, we're on our way, okay. All right,
I mean, I can explain this, and then he'll finish up the budget.
so, let me read this aloud so that
Last cleaner?
in conjunction with the donation that we just took from the Barbudos. For the Thanksgiving baskets, please note that depending on funding, Thanksgiving baskets may or may not be available. We depend upon donations, there is no guarantee of service. If we can assist, it will be for Tilton residents only. Should you need help, please put your name, address, contact number on a slip of paper and leave it in the secure lockbox to the left of this door. The left of the welfare office. We will do what we can to assist, but we cannot guarantee the service. Please check with Northfield Tilton Congregational Church, as they offer an annual free holiday dinner on Thanksgiving, and that number is 286-4253. And the Fire Chief Search Committee's meeting tomorrow. Our Christmas party, do we want to do the same as we did last year and let Catherine spearhead the charge for coordinating our Christmas party?
As long as it ain't more than $10, we're good. Just saying.
She's very good at it.
Plenty of Necco wafers.
What do we
I
want?
would think that Necco wafers work for me. But you know, I've never met a candy I didn't like. Yes, I vote yes.
At Onions, but they're kind of thinking of having it here and just having it catered from different people, like just bringing in
Share
some
them all.
pizza or share it going around.
If we have it here, then we should decorate, because it's really depressing to have a Christmas event here
Not decorate.
and not decorate. There's nothing
We can do
Christmassy
that.
about it.
Other than a poinsettia on the table, what do you want?
You know,
We can do that.
Where, I missed it.
Yeah,
We can make it.
decorate.
What do you want for dinner?
Menorah, Christmas tree.
Don't we have all the stuff in the basement?
we have some stuff, I don't know
Yeah.
how much, but we
Let's
do
dig it
have.
up.
There's
Put
some
it up.
stuff that, well, remember the year we
Catherine, we're
had you up
talking
on the
about you.
ladder decorating the tree that was donated?
We're putting you in charge of the Christmas party this year,
Why don't we have a potluck?
but they,
I'm not surprised.
Catherine is saying
I always bring brownies to the potluck dinners.
if we
I do
have
too.
if we have the Christmas party here, then we have to
Just saying.
decorate.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a
We
prerequisite.
should have a
Could
tree.
be the hit.
Some lights.
See if we can get one donated. I know someone.
Do we have a tree downstairs, or no? We have one up at
have a tree.
the, up at
We never
the,
had a tree yet?
Never, oh, yes, a little one, many years ago. Yeah, we could get a nice.
put that away. It's Christmas. Put
Bah
it away.
humbug.
It's for our employees, so put that away.
Well, no, I'm all for the play Christmas party. It was a very nice thing.
So what did they talk about?
Money that
What did I
we'll
miss?
save on.
So far, we've kind of have a consensus of putting you in charge,
Okay,
but I let the cat out of the bag because I thought you were thinking of having it here instead of going someplace.
Correct.
Much better.
And that's as far as we got, other than Catherine said, if we're going to have it here, we need to decorate.
Yes.
Because
I
it's
agree.
depressing
It's
otherwise.
very depressing.
We should have a nice
Town hall is a happy place.
decorated, if we're authorized to
Making
go
money,
buy
I'm
this
happy.
stuff.
So what's the date?
We were talking about the
Well,
20th,
there you go.
The 20th?
Friday.
Friday, the 20th.
Do you have a half a day? When is your half a day? The 24th?
Well, the selectmen decide that.
Yeah, that's whatever.
You decide if you want
What
us
is
to close
Christmas
early.
Christmas is on a Wednesday.
Correct.
I don't know, our table calendar has never reappeared.
Christmas is on a Wednesday, so,
Well, we'd have to check with Cindy with the state to see if they're closing early on.
We never did before. We never checked to see.
You want me to call and ask her?
Why? I mean, if we're closed regardless of what the
Exactly.
state does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we
It
never
would be
checked.
more important to know if they were closing all day, because there would be no sense of having that department open. But if they were open when we're closed.
Being, just.
So
saying
Christmas is
being
Wednesday, the
open.
25th.
yep.
So if we have a on the 20th, would that be okay with the rest of
Christmas
the board?
party on the 20th, that's a
It's
Friday.
going to stay the 25th.
Is everybody okay with that being on a Friday?
And we're-
I'm okay with it, but you,
What
2
time
days
would-
after Christmas?
no, before,
Oh,
The Friday before?
the
yeah, works
20th.
for me.
That works
What
for me.
time would we have this, and would we close the office? That was the
Definitely
question that
close the
Cindy had, and I
office.
said, well, I would take that to the
Noontime.
board.
No,
Noontime?
you're going to have it later in the day because people work. Well, it depends on who you're going to invite. If you're going to invite committees, people mostly work.
We never,
If you're just going to invite employees and staff, then that's different.
That's what we did last year.
I don't remember what we did
Yeah,
last
well, if we're
year.
gonna have a town-provided
It was,
Christmas
what
What
party.
did we do last year, Catherine? Did we
All the
do
volunteers
employees and
on the
staff?
committee should come.
it was employees and their spouses, if they chose to have them
Right.
Was last year.
last year.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's what we have been doing.
And it was very nice.
Yeah.
I am sure.
Okay, what does the board want to do this year? Employees and staff, spouses?
Cancel Christmas? It's cheaper that way.
I would say, yeah.
I can remember when I
All right,
Yeah,
Cindy
if we're
agrees with me.
having,
extended
We
lunch.
did
like a
that.
business has for their employees and staff, then that's what we should
In
do.
the afternoon, okay.
Another option was just to do an extended lunch. That way people could come over for lunch, other people.
Well, the problem that I see with that is most people, after you start making merry, the last thing you want to do is go back to work.
This is true.
They're not going to make that very merry here, though.
Oh, no, that kind of.
Oh,
merry.
no, not that kind of
not that
merry,
kind
but
of
just the
merry.
fact that they all come upstairs and we celebrate, and then they don't want to go back to work.
And then say, and they're all looking at their watches and say,
Yeah.
okay, no, let's close.
So what time would you think would be?
We do
Like
it on
one-ish.
Friday?
1 o'clock?
That would.
1 o'clock, and then and then they can go home.
That would give everybody that comes in the lunch hour, it would be open for the lunch hour for those people who,
True, too.
We'll close it and have it at 1 PM, and then... Okay.
Oh, they're gonna leave that.
All right, so you'll keep us updated on thoughts and plans and ideas?
Different things, yes.
Okay, do we want to set a budget or no?
I think for me, you need to give me a budget.
With her, you better.
Well, what did we do last year?
what was it last year?
1,000? No.
300?
No, I thought it was
No, it was...
More like
It was,
five.
I think it was 500.
5.
I believe it was 500.
Because if we're going to get a tree and decorations, that would be part
Yeah.
of that,
And that would eat into the food, though.
yeah.
Well, I don't think we
Eat
should.
into the food, I get it.
We know that what it costs us to usually do
One of
that,
those
which is
days,
around
I
the
guess.
5, so if we're going to decorate, that's extra.
That's extra. Okay, good, thank you.
I think, that's just my opinion.
Have those for,
And that's.
Right,
once we
then we'll
buy
have them
we'll
for
have it.
future years, so it's not
I'm with
like...
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Is that consensus or no? Everyone in favor of that idea?
Gotta be festive for me.
We will, Catherine.
I don't do just,
I have to go Christmas
We're going to have to
shopping.
go
I
shopping.
remember when we had it here one
You
year,
want us to deck the
There
halls,
was-
Catherine?
nothing.
You want us to deck the halls?
I want you to deck the halls. Remember the year we had it here and we forgot about it?
Balls of holly.
There was, I don't think we had anything here.
Just a bunch of plates full of food, that
Yeah,
was
I think the plates might have been Christmassy.
it. Yeah.
Maybe.
That was the only thing that was
Wreaths for the
Christmassy.
front.
Oh, yes,
Plates.
could we get wreaths for the front? Can
Well, we do that anyway, but I'm talking about in here.
Well,
so
she's
people
asking
walk
that
up.
in conjunction with yes. The answer's yes on the wreaths in the front.
Right, while we're doing the decorating, that's part of it. That's the outside part.
Consensus on the wreaths outside?
Well, we always do the wreaths outside.
We've cut
Yes.
back on how many,
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
get the smaller
To get the
size.
smaller
And
with
that's
the two.
fine, yeah.
because people like that.
Yeah, they ask, when are you getting those wreaths?
Didn't we forget one year?
When you bid it out, you should include Hardy's Greenhouse. We always forget them. Thank you, wow.
Catherine, did you hear that?
I'm sorry, I was...
When you bid it out, make sure you
you're
include
cooking
Hardy's
now.
Greenhouse.
Okay.
Hardee's,
I
yeah.
got you. I'll
We
get
always
prices.
forget our local wreath makers.
No, I will.
And I'm sure there's more than,
I'll
I
call
think
for
there's somebody in
prices, Catherine.
Samberton that does
Put
it
that in
too.
my notes.
There is somebody in Samberton, there was, is it Faith? No. It's the Garden Club or something. up
I don't
there.
know, I can remember they usually have them for sale at the tavern.
Historical Society.
That's it, I think.
It's the Historical Society. Okay. Well, we got that out of the way. All right, budget. Joyce, budget. Whoa.
Good God almighty.
Okay. I'll just walk you through it. It is, walk you through what it is, what is budgeted for 2013, each individual's medical plan. This is the 214, I'm sorry, that's their budgeted salary. The 214 premiums that the board had approved at a prior meeting. So that's what's budgeted. This is the current, what would be the 10% employee contribution based on the new rates. And the town's cost, and we're talking strictly non-union here. And then we did a scenario of 12%. So the town's cost would be 88. And that the town's savings, you'll see at the bottom there is,
You've lost me.
Yeah,
Me too.
me too. Where are you?
I'm at the
You gotta look at the
Town
top
savings.
and go across, and you'll see employee 10% contribution, and then town 90% cost.
Okay,
And then
and
go over and
employee
you'll see
12.
employee 12% contribution, and then 88% cost for the town.
Okay, all right.
And I assume that savings is for the 88%.
That is
and
correct. So if you
12%.
go
So those go
all-
together.
all the way down to the bold, that savings would be, to the town, would be $4,675.
Now, there is a saving associated with the 10% contribution.
Yes, where's that at?
Of that, it's not on here.
It's not on.
This is just dealing with the increase.
Okay,
Using our 2014 premiums, if we,
But I'd like to see what, if we had that, I mean, I guess we could figure out what 2% is. So in other words, how much more is it going to cost them from last year? Because we're increasing it by 2%. That isn't much.
How much out of their pay is it going to cost them?
did he not show that? If you flip it over on the back side,
Okay.
you'd want to look, single, this is the,
those are,
oh yeah, no, this is still just showing, this is still showing the town savings.
yeah.
So how much more out of pocket?
Or what's the increase?
Do you have a number of how many we have in family, how many we have in, right now?
Do we know?
Non-union is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 families.
Wait a minute, 5 families. Okay,
Two-person is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.
5,
And single is 2. We have 2 buyouts.
Buyouts, too.
2 buyout, I'm sorry, 3 buyouts.
I was going to say, I think there's more than that.
Yeah, 3 buyouts.
3.
But one of the buyouts is still receiving the insurance.
What?
If you look at number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th one down, it's a 2, it would normally be a 2-person plan,
Yeah.
but
Okay,
it's only a 1-person plan.
gotcha. Okay, so now you can figure it, Catherine, as to how it would affect the employees.
What's the difference between medical premium and 2014 budgeted medical?
Difference between how much we pay and how much the employee contributes.
Yeah, but I tried that.
Yeah, well, one of them is you have to include the medical buyout, because that's what we budget.
Oh. That's why it didn't come
So
out right.
if we divide this by 12, if you took a 12% increase for a 2-person contribution
Here he is.
and divided it by 12, it would come up to $198.91 a month added on to their cost, correct? Am I,
Bet you've got one in your pocket.
They want to know what the impact is on the employee, not the town savings.
I want to know what the 2% represents, which would be the increase from
Right.
this year to a proposed 12% contribution.
The difference is, $537 divided by 50. On a family plan, it'd be $10.74 more per week.
No, I want to know what it is for the whole, so it's, in other words, I got to figure here, it says town savings, $4,675.
Yep.
Well, and that's for a 12% contribution. I don't have a town savings for the 10% contribution. So what's the town savings for the 10% contribution?
What are we saving at 10% over the
Yep.
full premium?
Yep.
We're saving the difference of $219,890 less $210,371 or $9,519.
And the 10% versus the 12%?
No, versus nothing.
Oh,
Is that what you
okay.
asked?
You just wanted
Yes.
the 10% figure.
They wanted a 10%.
No, that doesn't make any sense, because that's more than twice what that savings is.
Right.
Well,
In other words, I've got right here, it says employees' contribution is 10%, and the town 90%. Well, where's my savings for their contribution? I have a savings here. It can't be $9,519.
Existing now is
we're currently-
10%,
Yeah, we're currently at 10%
right.
employee.
I know. There's a savings to the town for those employees paying 10%.
Right.
Just like there would be a savings for the town for employees doing 12%.
So you need the total
So
was
it's-
budgeted for.
I want to be able to see
Sure.
how much more is that savings? Is it insignificant?
We're currently saving, let's see.
I'm sorry.
One second.
I don't ask things right. I know I don't.
Well, no, I'm just
Take a
trying to-
breath, would
No,
you?
my brain doesn't.
Take a
I know what
breath.
you mean.
Well, if you
I'm with you today.
understand, there's a lot of calculations involved in trying to anticipate what the board might want, so.
Well, and tell me what 2% of 4,675 is. That would be rough, right?
Well,
Because then the rest, the remainder would be 10%. So in other words, what would be the increase?
no. Okay.
So it's like $800?
I was just going to show you the, in fact, the 10% contribution is $23,375. It's right in that employee 10% contribution column.
So if I subtract that from 28,050,
50.
I'm going to have a rough idea?
Where are you getting 28?
Under the
That's gonna be
12%.
the employee's
9%
contribution for
cost.
12%.
Wow,
Well, the difference is the 4675.
right,
So,
it's already in there.
The savings at 10% is 23 grand. Because otherwise, we pay 100%.
That's all
I
right.
really am confused with what you're asking me.
They're in there. It's already, the savings
got
are
it.
in there.
Look at this column right
I
here.
got it.
All right, she'll
I
come
got
to
it.
Jesus.
I'll do my own rough calculation.
Eventually, she'll come.
So what, did you explain what the columns?
I went through each column, but see, there's, what we're missing is maybe the piece that we're not comparing it to what was budgeted and what people were paying in to 2013, because we know it's a 7.9% increase based on the 10%, no matter what happens.
pay
And it's now we're
28,
adding an additional 2%. Right, Catherine? That's what you're looking at?
23, it's okay.
A 20% increase over what someone was paying, going from 10 to 12%.
It's a 20% increase
20% increase in contribution.
in their contribution.
That's
We're
because the rates
increasing
went
their
up.
out-of-pocket by 20%.
Right, she wanted to
That'll
know
work.
what it would be, the regular increase, plus the
So,
increasing the percentage of
On a
well, there you
family
go.
plan, non-union right now, it's about, what, $53 a week or so? And as I explained, the increase was about $10.75, or it's around $50 a week. $10.75 is about 20%.
Yeah.
So we're gonna ask them to pay 20% more.
Yeah, but if you look at the dollars, though, it's
sounds
20%
like
sounds
a lot.
worse than it is.
No, it's a fifth. Right?
Pardon me?
It's a fifth.
What is it in dollars?
Well, yeah.
For a two-family person,
50,
20
how
bucks a
much is
hundred.
it a week?
The difference?
20 cents
Yep.
on the dollar.
Let me
20
point
bucks
you
on
to the, where it says, the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth column from the right-hand side of the paper, where it says
Yep.
.10 to
12.
0.12.
Yeah.
Town savings, that's actually also, that column could also read additional employee cost
So $398
on a two-person.
for a two-person for the year.
That's correct.
That's how much additional monies they're going to pay.
Right.
So if you divide that weekly,
Well, we actually use 50 pay periods.
50 paid, so divide that by 50,
Right.
how much more a week in their pay are we taking out?
It is, what is it,
$398.
$7.96 pre-tax
A week.
a week, pre-tax.
Cheap money.
199 is the single, right?
$7.96.
For a two-person. A single would be $3.98 pre-tax, and a family plan would be $10.74 pre-tax.
What was that?
$10.74 pre-tax
Pre-tax.
per week over 50 weeks.
Single.
Family, that's family.
Family,
Now,
okay.
the other thing to consider is that we're still offering the same plan. It's a great plan, very little out-of-pocket expenses, no changes to the prescription plan, no increase in the dental plan,
You're lucky.
so we're saving
Oh, yeah.
there.
Yeah, the other option that had been discussed was that 20 plan, the MTP 20, and that was a lesser percent increase, but it also shifted that money onto the employee.
More money onto the employee.
Deductibles,
Right.
Yeah.
visits, all that.
But we also still have that one where we share the cost, right? In other words, we pay a portion of the,
The SOS.
yeah.
Yeah, we pay 100% of the SOS.
I thought there was one that we paid a portion of the deductibles.
Well, and what
That's
this-
the SOS.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
don't
the
pay
other thing,
100%, do we? I
too-
thought we just paid a portion.
There were three things. Is it will encourage people more to sit down, look at their plan, see if the SOS would be more appropriate for them, or if they do have a spouse or significant other, whatever, on a plan, to sit down and do the calculation, find out which is to their advantage.
Right.
Well, and the other aspect of this is, and Dress has brought this up, I brought it up to you last week, but we discussed it, is also that you have fewer taxes and contributions when you look at a total compensation package for an employee by increasing their health benefits. You're not paying 25% retirement in the PD or 10.7% here in Group 1 retirement. You're not paying Social Security, you're not paying Medicare. So there's, if an employee is looking at their total compensation, that if you were to adjust wages in such a way that, or look at future wages in such a way that you've increased their benefits, so therefore they're receiving more out of pocket, as opposed to increasing their benefit costs, because in the end, we're going to be contributing to any wages through all the employer sharing. But, so that's just something to keep in mind too.
Well, the other thing too, and so I'm going to be the devil's advocate here, we're asking union people to pay 14.5%.
Have you been to the back side? Yeah. Oh, okay. So at the top of that sheet, this is again just based on the non-union analysis. So you see the very top line, which shows employee contribution 10%. Over and above what we're spending now, there's no additional savings for the town or cost of the employee.
Yep.
Outside of the increase in premium cost. But then you look at 11%, 12% is what the other side of the sheet shows. Then you can see the rates at 13, 14, and 14.5%. What you can look at it either as town savings or cost to the employees in that mix. And you can see what the annual contribution is for single, two-person, and family plan in each of those. So that last category is where the PD is currently.
Right.
At 14.5%.
But again, I mean, we've got a great plan that you have no out-of-pocket other than $5 when you go to the doctor.
Right.
Everything else is paid.
So
Trending, you want to get people onto plans where they have higher copay and have some deductibles. I mean, that's kind of the direction we want to head.
as a finance director and as a town administrator, going over these numbers and looking at the health plan analysis, considering our 7.9% increase, what would be your recommendation to us for percentage if we were to increase the employee contribution? That's a bomb, huh?
Well, I mean, I'm prepared to answer.
Yeah. I've got a little twist to it.
Oh, yours is a twist?
Yeah,
I would
but
say at a minute, I feel that we should increase the employee copay. I've said that all along. I would be, 11%. Of course, I'm a little biased because I'm paying that too, but if the board were to go to 12%, I think that we would be justified knowing what the cost of plans are going to be in the future, how trending we need to move to these different types of plans, because eventually these plans that we have are going to go away, just like the JY plan and the Blue Choice 3-tier are eventually going to go away. Equity, to be fair.
You don't want to hit them with all of a sudden healthcare has skyrocketed in 3 years from now, and we've done nothing about it at all, and all of a sudden now you have to,
The 25% spike.
Yeah.
you have a 15 to 20% spike in, whoa, what happened?
Right.
I think it's unfair that we ask almost half our employees to pay 14.5.
now we get to my issue. If our police pay 14.5, why don't the rest of the employees pay 14.5?
Because they make more money than we do.
They pay the same, they pay a different percentage, though.
Right.
Well, the only,
Quite frankly, what's the average municipal contribution? Do you have any clue what that might be? Is it 8%? Is it 16%?
The average, no. The highest has been, the highest I've seen is 20. But it's definitely over 10.
It's probably more in the
12 to 15.
range.
the difference between our PD employees and our town employees.
I love and respect the
Is that
town
one
employees.
person to, I
You're
know.
convoluted.
Our PD employees are guaranteed a raise every year.
Let's just have one person talk at one time. I mean, Catherine's trying to make a point here, and you're making a point.
And he's making a point.
So I would like to hear both sides.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Catherine.
Oh.
And then Joe.
The other Joe.
No, then Joe.
I think one of the differences between the union and the non-union is the union are guaranteed raises every year by way of their contract.
Right.
And we know that our non-union have not gotten those raises, so their gross wage has not increased as theirs has.
Right.
And we've never been able to make up the difference for the years they did not get the increase.
Right.
That is one difference.
Joe?
I admire and respect each and every one of the town employees, no matter how much their contributions are currently. I represent the taxpayers of the town of Tilton. And the taxpayers in the town of Tilton are having a tough time. And I'll bet you 90% of them don't have anywhere near this kind of coverage. Never mind have 90% of their premiums paid by their employers. I just have a hard time with it. I really do. I don't know what to tell you. I admire and respect what you do, but I know lots of people who are paying 20, 25, 30% of their premium if they can get employer-sponsored insurance. These are the people that have to pay for any kind of decisions that we make. And I'm really uneasy about, the difference between 10 and 2%. Personally, I'm in favor of 14.5, and we make it standard for all town employees. The issue of payroll raises is separate from an issue of how much each employee contributes to their health plans.
You have to consider also that we're going into negotiations, so that may change. There's some negotiations here coming up that in itself may change along with increases in pay or however, with the police contracts, so that's an unknown right now.
Yeah, that's a
And that-
maybe what if.
We'll know, we have to know by January, the end of January, for budget reasons. That's an unknown, so you have to consider that. But, Catherine, I think Catherine has a valid point. If you look at the trend of what our employees, non-union employees, have had, where our budget committee has made, a significant points to the townspeople at town's meeting, and they've zeroed out years of our merit raises, and they've gotten no raises for a couple of years, and we've been able to give merit based on merit, where some people haven't got the 2.5%, so you're relying on 1% to 2%, some people 2.5%. That's, again, an unknown, and not over a 3-year period. A contract with them is a 3-year period. They know what they're going to get, how much they're going to get, and what their benefits carry them for till July of 2014 until July 2017. And they know that they're going to get this much money. Our employees do not know that. Our non-union employees, they do not know that.
Our police employees get a raise, and then we raise their insurance. So we're just paying the insurance. In effect.
That's not necessarily true, because there's still some, it depends, there's still some money pocketed in their pocket each year for their raise.
But remember, we're starting negotiations, perhaps we have an opportunity to correct some of these insufficiencies. And I'm not being rude, I just can't.
No, I know, the sun's in your face.
It's coming my way in about 5 minutes.
I
No,
know.
it's the bright, bright light that just
Yeah.
blinds
Sandy
you.
the longest.
Yeah, I start way over there and then I move way over there.
It's coming.
Yeah,
We're going to have to need sunglasses as a prerequisite for selectmen's meetings in
I
the
got some in
afternoon.
my purse.
But you should remember this while we're
Right,
negotiating this
while we're in
contract,
negotiations,
that,
right?
Yes.
you know, we do
The same thing
really
with
gross
Joe.
inefficiencies.
The police department, over 3 years, stepped into that 14 and a half. So it would be unfair to have an employee immediately go to that, because then all employees would be they would be making less.
They went from 10%, they stayed where they were, to 12.5%, to 12% to 14.5% over the 3-year period.
Over a 3-year period. So to go from 10 to 14 and a half would be,
45% increase.
people would be they would be earning less. They would be taking home much less. If going to a 12%, say no increase at all, yeah, they're paying a little more of their wage that they're getting to health insurance, but it's not all going to health insurance.
How much this costs the town of Tilton? $500,000? Basically, to provide insurance coverage?
It's like $250,000.
That's the
For non-union, or you-
non-union,
I just-
and then we go to the union down below,
Both
and it's
can-
$500,000.
for both,
More
okay.
than, yeah.
Yeah, $500,000.
Yeah.
And I would like to see the employees pay a fair share of that money. Taxpayers have the burden, and that's all I'm looking for. And that's what I'm looking for. If you guys won't support 14 and a half, but 12, I vote 12.
Okay.
Okay, Tim,
Well, the twist is, I actually favored, I was hoping in some respects that the other plan was going to be opted for, because that was a lesser percent increase year over year. But I think I think it would be hard on employees to go from 10 to 14.5% in 1 year. The 20% increase is what I was thinking, if it was going to be anything to 12%. And that's why I factored that in, so you can see the impact to each of the individual non-union employees, because this is their actual wages, their health premium, and what that 12% would be.
would it be, do you think it would be more, I'm having a very hard time articulating things today, so bear with me. Do you think that if we offered a better incentive to buy out, people would take advantage of that at a greater savings? Would it be a greater savings to the town, or no?
It's really hard to say. I've heard that at the PD, but I think it's something that you would have very little way of knowing, because you'd have to know what an employee's spouse's plan is, and then even knowing what their buyout might be, the buyout alone isn't enough for a couple or a family to make a decision, because maybe the buyout is the same at both, but the other plan isn't quite as good as our plan. So then, well, we're going to get the same buyout, let's go on the town's plan. But
Right.
if their plan is better, in other words, their out-of-pocket expenses and that sort of thing, and the buyout's the same, and someone would go take the buyout and go on the other plan. So those two factors of the difference of the plans would be very hard to determine, as well as the buyout. But it was brought up to me a couple of months ago, and I think you'll be probably hearing about that in the near term over at the PD, because that was something that was asked. But what I did was, on the back, I had mentioned last week that the buyout had not changed since 2008, so as premiums increase, your buyout is getting less and less potent, percentage-wise, to incent somebody to either stay on or stay off the plan, or to go to someone, their spouse's plan. But once again, it would require information that I don't think you could get very easily, because you'd have to know what each spouse's plan was.
But wouldn't we also have to consider somebody's usage of medical? I mean, if you have a family that is extremely healthy, very seldom visits the doctor, never goes to the emergency room, no major illnesses, so they don't have any deductibles to deal with. And then you have a family who has, heaven forbid, a family member who has some, major medical need, who, every time you go to the doctor's is a deductible, every time you go for some kind of service is a deductible. I mean, that would affect the buyout as well, because as you said, if somebody else doesn't have a policy that supplies their individual needs,
Correct.
that would,
That's correct.
even if the buyout seemed to be,
But
advantageous, it wouldn't be because of their particular individual situation.
Well, and what's really happened here is one of two things. When the buyout was put in place, it's remained the same since 2008 for single, two-person, and family. And of course, since that time, since 2008, the premiums for the plans have increased. So they've gone from a family plan in 2008 of $19,800, and a single plan of $7,300, two-person of $14,700, to $9,900 for single, $19,008 for two-person, and a family plan of almost $27,000. So they've gone from basically 20 to 25% of what the premium was down to about 15 to 18% during that same time, because the premiums have gone up, so the buyout is a lesser and lesser percent. Now, would that make any difference if the buyouts were more? Honestly, I really have no way of knowing. But what I did was just to give you an example of if you were putting together a buyout now at the same percentage of premium, your buyouts, you could see on that bottom section, for the buyouts, instead of being $1,500 for a single, would be a little over $2,000. Instead of $3,000 for a two-person, it'd be over $4,000. And the family plan, instead of $5,000, would be almost $6,800. So at those percentages. So it's something that hasn't kept pace, but again, I don't know how anyone would have any way of knowing, whether someone would make use of it or not. I do know in the past we have had people go on a buyout and then come off of a buyout, and
Because their family circumstances had changed.
yeah. But I think that, again, I think that's going to be something we're going to hear about in the coming months.
Well, also for the buyout, the employee has to show proof that they are going on to other insurance.
So explain that to me about the buyout. You buy out, then you come off the buyout. How are we paying this out?
Well, it is a challenge budget-wise, because we have some budgeted as buyouts, because that's what they're on. But if, let's say, the spouse loses their health insurance, that would be an event where they could come back onto our insurance. So they would forfeit, any buyout at that point, and they would then be on the town's insurance. They would go into the town's insurance. And they would be paying the contribution and all that.
Or if they have a child, and if they have a child and their family plan with their wife's plan was higher than what ours is, they switch to ours and go on the family plan, because they now have a family.
So we pay a certain percentage a month on that?
Monthly
The buyout,
Well,
One
most are
employee
monthly. Yeah.
is twice a year.
That prevents them from jumping quick and collecting money before.
Correct. Or if they leave employment.
well, that was just changed a few years ago. It used to be just once in July, I think, that we paid it, and then we said we would, it didn't matter when, right.
Yeah,
Then we added the monthly.
the monthly is actually the easiest, because I've got it set up so it's automatic.
Right.
It makes it much easier to reconcile, to make sure that we've collected the sufficient weekly payments to match the monthly premiums.
Right.
Monthly is the best.
I couldn't agree more.
I think the way you want to do it, Tim, would probably work the best, being from the private sector.
20%.
Yeah. You know, that when I get whacked, I never get enough money to cover the whackation
The waxation.
of the,
A new word is born.
the waxation of the increase. I never get enough to cover it, ever. They give you this much raise, and they raise insurance this much. So this is,
So it's all out of pocket to you.
Well, you never get ahead.
But there's
get a raise
still
and
an
then
option. We still,
an
as an
increase.
employer, we offer good insurance to our employees.
A1 insurance.
And if they don't want to pay the increase, they have the option, they can go on to the SOS plan, stay healthy, you'll be paying zero.
Well, and this also gives you the option of, you know, a year from now, if you wanted to sync it up
Yeah.
with whatever the PD's was, that would not be a significant,
it's not such a great hit.
not such a huge hit to be able to get to that.
Understandable.
If we can gradually go up to that, you mean?
Right.
So,
You should gradually work up. You should never, ever throw a
I
punch
can't
like
see, I cannot see going from 10% to 14.5% right off the bat. I can't see going to that to
It's
the,
the real world. I've been hurt. I understand this. I totally understand this. You know where I'd stand.
I would be in favor of the 12. And then with a plan in place that we could gradually, if we reach a threshold of this much, then we would need to go up this much.
Right.
And have the plan in place that we could, you know, get on board with, because it's going,
It's inevitable.
it's scary where health insurance is going to go.
Right.
It's really scary, and, you know, it's just
It's inevitable. It's gonna
astronomical.
go up.
It really should drop considering Obama's plan, because now people who wouldn't be buying it are now buying it, and the insurance
you know-
company should be making more profit.
I have health insurance through my employer for the rest of my life. Who knows how long I'll live. However, the major changes in the health insurance that they choose to give you are astronomical. What used to be a $5 copay is now 20% of the cost of the service. So it's you know, either way, they have you. You have health insurance here, or you pay it here and get the best plan. Which would you rather? I'm kind of thinking I'd rather the best plan.
Right.
So,
Medicare, 2080?
2080.
2080.
And there's a donut hole. After $2,000, you pay the next $3,000, and then they pay after that. But anybody who's sick, old people, Medicare, you can go through $2,000 like that.
Today.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get hit with $3,000, and that's going to cost you probably $1,300, $1,400 a year. But these people are all on fixed incomes, for the most part.
Well, I make a motion, we increase employee contribution to 12%.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Go ahead, Joyce.
We need to look at, when did you want this to go into effect? February or July? We didn't talk about
And
that.
we didn't, this is
What would be the-
factored on a calendar year.
What would be the significant,
Well, for 6 months of the year, the employee would automatically be paying, their take-home pay would be greatly reduced until, if they get an increase, then
Well, they just did get an increase in July, where there was no increase in the rate of contribution. The 10% stayed even all year. So
but with the PD,
the
we have,
consideration would be, do we want to wait until they get another increase? Or do we consider the increase that was given in July?
just something-
On average, was that 2.5%? I know some did not, but on the average, I think
on
it was.
the average, it was 2.5%, right?
Just about, yeah.
it's just that when we implement the changes in the copay, we do that effective July 1. So we would be
Right.
doing it, one would be in January and the others would be in July.
Yeah, I mean, you could still have the total cost taken out during the year. It's how you would implement it. You would have a higher than contribution rather than 1075 for the family plan to be 21 to 50%. Is that what you're saying? Double it up in the second half of the year?
That, you could do that,
You can do that.
or just implement it in the second half of the year.
You could.
I would amend my motion.
Budgetarily,
I would
it would.
think,
I would amend my motion to have it effective January 1st of 2014.
yeah,
That way it's more even across the year instead
I
of,
think it's more affordable that way.
right. I do too.
Even though it'll be prior to their having any additional money, perhaps. Forget exactly what it was, but from just under $4 for a single plan to just over $10 for the family plan.
But we,
Right, but they're going to be, starting January 1, they will have a
Out
net,
of their pay,
that they'll be netting less.
Pre-tax.
But again, it's pre-tax, so it might be anywhere from, what, $3 to $7, $3 to $8.
But at least that way, at the second half of the year, they're not facing such a huge,
Right.
it's more even across the year instead of trying to, let them wait till July and then really sock it to them for 6 months.
They may have more.
$20 to $40 a month difference, probably. Somewhere, depending on which one.
Yep. So I'll second your amendment.
all right, we're voting on the amended motion of effective January 2014, we will increase the non-union employees to 12% premium copay. Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Do you want to talk about, do you want to leave the contribution, the buyout alone, or do you want to?
I do for now. I don't know, anybody else feels.
Okay,
Yeah,
everybody?
Yep, I
All
agree.
set with that? Okay.
I have a question. I don't know if anybody's asked you, but at the budget meeting last night, John was saying the so-called federal tax that's going to be charged on the, what did he call that, Catherine?
He said that the town is going to be paying a tax on benefits.
Right,
In our health insurance?
Right.
yes.
Yes, Scott had talked about that, and
Yeah,
that's
that's-
folded into our rates.
yeah.
That's folded into the rate, so do you know what the percentage is?
I don't know the percentage, but one of those was $63 per
Yeah.
person.
Right. Well, I remember him going over all those, but I didn't think he gave us an exact rate, other than the fact that it's been built into the premium, correct?
7.9, correct.
All right, well,
That's
would-
why it increased so much. Oh,
Right.
and what percent, I do have that written down. I think,
it's 7,
I want to say
is it-
like 2.24%. It was
yeah, something like that. But anyway, would you please send John
Yep.
an email just saying, yes, we are aware of it, and it's built into our premiums,
And what the percentage is. Okay.
right?
Do we have any other new budgets out so that we can go over them and see what we need to do?
Yeah, there's some things that it wasn't, the time did not permit to get in. The insurance, PLT and.
Thank you.
Did I give you that, Joyce?
You did.
thank you.
Oh, we never signed the warrant.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yes.
Forgot about me?
We'll do it right now.
How could we forget about you? Please, tell me.
I'm not signing it. I want to think about it.
Why, who are you?
Nice.
Oh my God, that chair has wheels.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Do we now have to make a motion, or?
No, your act of signing it shows your agreement to
All
it.
right, let's do it. So Cindy will quit glaring at us.
Yeah.
Tax bills, everyone.
Yep.
Are you surprised?
The
Did you show it
new
to Joe?
tax rate is
you see it?
$20.25.
Oh, no, not at all.
I expected it, actually.
Tax rate.
First time in 3 years
Warrant.
we've gone up. We've been consistently going down.
The rate of
Great
growth.
team.
Oh, 2025.
Inside.
Let me read that. Okay, as that's going down, what, do we have outside agencies that we have not voted on? Yeah, I make a motion that we approve $122,200 for Hall Memorial Library.
Second?
The Budget Committee had questions because the information that they gave us
Was inconsistent.
was inconsistent.
Yeah.
It didn't jive with what they gave us last year for payroll. So the Budget Committee, I'm just letting you know, the Budget Committee is waiting for more information
Yes.
before they make a decision on a number to make sure that the figures they gave us are correct,
Right.
because they sure didn't add up.
There you go. Thank you.
Well, the way, we're getting interim yet?
Although we shouldn't be voting.
Okay?
Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll rescind my motion. We'll wait.
The way
All
I
right.
left it with them was you and I were gonna sit down and go through this whole thing, just for budget
Did anything to say about the particulars on that?
This is workers' comp,
And why the figures on that, no?
48,320.
I'm making, reading notes to, thank you, remind myself when we're negotiating. Let me go to their information. If you add up, if you look at the documents they gave us for last year's request, they number 8. I didn't put it in here. It's not the same. Here's 2013, so
Not giving you more room.
2013,
These are my originals, I need to...
there. So, it's hard to read this for me. So their proposed budget for 2013 is, their total expenses were $255,000.
Yeah.
Okay? So the proposal for 2012 for 2013 showed $259,700. None of the figures jive.
Right.
If you look at last year's, this is this year's,
Yep.
okay? This is last year's. None of the figures jive. Even their year-to-date budget, oh no, that was correct, in their expense, in their income, but their expenses did not. The amount that we gave them by budget, this is what Terry asked us last year, but this is what we actually gave them last year, so that doesn't add up.
So is someone come up with an answer for
They're going to give us an answer, and,
Right.
you know, they've had some very inaccurate figures in the past, so that's why they're being very cautious, because one year they came and come to find out, their information was very incorrect.
Okay, so we're going to wait on library. Let's, how about if we go down through the departments and while we have both Joyce and Tim here?
There's just something that came up, and it's so recent, I was talking to Dennis about it, but I just want to bring it up to the board, even though you've already voted on the highway budget. And as I said, Joyce and I haven't had a chance to talk about it either, but one of the concerns I've got is in how we're budgeting solid waste and what we're going to have to do for recycling in the new year. We're going to, the revolving fund is going to be out of money right around March. So depending upon bag sales and everything else, paying for the recycling pickup, which, you know, was what was expected. So obviously there'll be some kind of warrant article, but at the same time, looking at the reduction in solid waste in Dennis's budget, it's confusing, I think, and he agrees, because it probably really should be split out, showing a residential cost and a commercial cost. Because when people look at the 273,000 or
To 87.
287,000 rather, they think, oh, that's what we're paying for fees. But, a good portion of that, 2/3 of that is made up
Commercial.
of what we're reimbursed by. And if we
Right.
make money on it through our admin fees.
Right.
So by splitting up that line and having two such lines, then we'll be more focused on what is the residential cost.
Okay.
Because that's really what we're recycling against. So that was
I would be in
something-
favor of that. Anybody else?
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I agree too, that's a great idea. Why didn't we think of that?
I did. It's too late.
Okay,
Way too late.
so can you change that for next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll add a line, and then I'll get with Dennis and Joyce, and we'll divvy up that.
Divvy it up, it's the same amount of money, so, right,
Yeah.
okay.
How are you going to label them?
Commercial, residential.
It'll say co-op solid waste commercial, co-op solid waste residential.
Okay. Now, where is our cost to have the recycle picked up?
It's not in the operating budget, because it's being paid for out of the revolving fund. So just in the same,
But yet,
and there won't be enough.
I know we're not raising it appropriate by taxation,
Right.
but it's an expense and an obligation. If the bag sales fail, it's not coming out of that fund.
Well, it would be true, it would be minus.
Well, right.
So, my question is, we don't know if we're going to have enough. I mean, I have already talked to people who have found other ways of disposing of their trash legally, but other ways rather than paying for bags.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at people's ingenuity.
Oh, wow, I see.
But, so if we put monies in here to offset, we're not showing an expense anywhere.
Yeah, I'm really.
Well, you want to, you add
I don't
add
follow
another collection line, just in
Well,
case,
yeah, I mean,
just in case the,
Well,
Well,
if it fails, you have to
what
take
would-
money from somewhere, and you're gonna have to show where the money's
Yeah,
coming
but
from.
what I would think would have to happen is at town meeting, if.
or do we raise and appropriate by warrant article to put extra monies into the reserve fund?
It would, well, the revolving fund?
Yeah, the revolving
Yeah,
fund.
It would have to, I would think it would have to be the revolving fund, because originally it was going to be 87,000 for the warrant article, and that was brought down to 45,000 to account for that period of time, which we would start through town meeting. So theoretically, we've got enough money to pay through March, hopefully, and
Without bag sales.
with bag sales, good bag sales, taking that into account. So if a warrant article, was presented at town meeting for the balance of the year, or whatever amount was determined needed to be raised for the balance of 2014 to pay for, that collection less the anticipated bag sales for 2014, if that failed, then somewhere, either the town would have to kill it, or they would have to put money into the operating budget to pay for the expense or our existing obligations, yeah.
Also, I'd like to see it in the operating budget. It's much easier to get it out of the operating budget if by some reason we should happen to have enough bag sales and we don't need it. I think by the time we get to town meeting, we may have a clearer look at bag sales and, if it's going to work, and someone could, vote to remove it from the budget or reduce it. I just don't want to put money into a revolving fund that doesn't need to be there.
Right.
And then try to get it out later.
I see what you're saying. A month from now, we should have, we'll have a whole nother month's history. I know the recycling committee wants to look at it, the budget committee wants to look at it, and, so we're going to spend a lot of time crunching the numbers and looking at, what's what. It doesn't account for what consumers have purchased, it accounts for what retailers have purchased, just keep that in mind. But the concern I've got is that by putting something into our operating budget, we're already up, our operating budget is already up about $250,000. 160 some of that is in PD, 32 for the fire dispatch, our insurances, other things. So it's, and that's already, for me, very uncomfortable. But I don't see a huge amount of additional revenue next year. If anything, we're going to be revenue flat or less.
But even if you raise and appropriate it by warrant article, it's an obligation.
True, but it's not in the operating budget.
No.
But the warrant articles would be discussed first, so if for some reason the warrant article failed, someone could amend the operating budget at town meeting. But I certainly see what you're saying. I just don't know how much you would say.
It's something we need to definitely think about and consider.
So would you want to try to determine how much we would need to cover the balance of 2014 for recycling pickup? In the operating budget?
I don't care either way, I'm just throwing it out there for conversation. I mean, an article can be voted down, amended just as well as the budget can.
So it's going to be about $65,250.
I think it goes up in the second year. Is it the same every year, Joe?
Pardon me?
Is the contract amount for recycling the same every year?
Yeah. So
When do we have to have our warrant articles?
February 1st, right?
No, that's petitioned, is around February 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah, they have to be in the first Tuesday of February.
But we can do warrant articles up until, is it 10 days before town meeting?
Oh, no, less than that, because we have
No,
to have
that's when the
everything
budget has to be posted, right?
22nd or something.
Or the warrant has to be posted.
And and also you have to allow enough time that if it's money, that there's still enough time for the budget committee to have a public hearing.
Right.
Second public hearing.
So when would that be?
I'd have to run and get my calendar.
Okay, so, but we'd have we'd have January.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, we want to think about that,
Yeah.
because we don't want to get caught.
Could I just, so Catherine, you would want to do that, like, if we do decide to do that, you'd want to have a second line under curbside contract?
No, I said I could go either way, whether we do it by warrant article or we put it in the budget. I was just throwing that up for conversation for the others. Like I said, you can amend a warrant article and the budget in the same exact way.
Right.
I would think the recycling committee would be bringing forward a warrant article.
What we need is to get the facts and figures. I can't discuss it until I know what it is I'm discussing. The fact that including the $45,000, which is 6 months' worth of pickup, actually, it's a little more than 6 months' worth of pickup, plus the bag sales will last us 6 months is a mystery to me. So I have to get information as to why that is and how that is and how much our MSW's gone down, and if that is indeed true, how much recycling has gone up. There's a lot of things that I need to have information on before, and we do have a recycling meeting coming up.
Well, and the solid waste has been conservatively estimated. So
Yeah, I was just
Extremely
gonna-
conservative.
That hasn't gone down
No, but what
exponentially.
you're going to see,
Well, he didn't, what if, let's just say that after town meeting, curbside collection of recyclables is no longer an issue. Because we don't have it anymore. Dennis needs to have money in that account.
that's correct.
Well, wouldn't you take the money left over, couldn't you take the money in the revolving fund that's left over to
You'd have to
supplement it?
dissolve the revolving
It's
fund.
going to be very little, but...
Well, if we supplement it, there
Right.
won't be.
Well,
And
that's
they
true,
won't-
because the purpose of the revolving fund was to offset the solid waste, so yes, you could do that as agents. The other thing is you could just amend the operating budget
Exactly,
for
at
some
town
reason
meeting.
the phase you throw failed, you could have met the operating budget to account for the total solid waste.
My understanding of that, the wording and the legalities behind that revolving fund is it can only be used to promote recycling. Now,
If that's what it can only be used for, then we can't use it to pay for them to
we'd have to
pick up
dissolve the
trash.
fund. Oh, no, that actually, not to pick up MSW.
Pick up recyclables.
Well, that's not
Picking up
promoting,
recycle-
that's not promoting recycling.
Of course it is. Picking up the recyclables, of course it is.
That's not promoting recycling.
Did you put out recycles this week,
the money
Catherine?
to pay
Or
the
any
monthly
week since we've been doing this?
Yeah, and I've watched it get dumped into the rubbish.
There's a split truck that they used a
It
couple
wasn't a
times.
split truck.
Well, that's what they're claiming.
So Joyce and I both seem to recall that the Warren article included the provision that those monies could be used to offset the solid waste cost.
If there was any excess.
Right, excess.
So if for some reason there wasn't a program anymore and there's money sitting there, that could be used then to, pay down toward the co-op fund.
I will have a much more detailed synopsis of this issue.
Yeah, the December 2nd meeting of recycling, I know that's going to be too early to see November, we're not going to have it, but one of the problems we run into is everything is in arrears with the bag sales. So we're seeing the money about 60 days after the retailer is taking delivery. So that's why, the longer, the more data we'll have to see, what are those sales. And again, somebody could be sitting on a lot of inventory. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what consumers have purchased and used. We don't know what the usage is.
This is not a surprise to me.
What has been sold to a retailer. And then we see that 60 days after it occurs.
And I don't have the exact reduction in residential MSW either.
I'm developing some good figures, so.
I would have been shocked if they...
We'll talk.
Right, we haven't even voted on not one thing on our budget, and we were supposed to spend an hour and a half to finalize our budget. So if we can move on from recycling and maybe put it onto just move it from next week and maybe get some of the stuff that we can voted on.
Nope.
Well, I'm just sit it there for a second. Jeez.
Okay?
Oh, good laugh.
For the purpose of implementing curbside recycling to change the...
I have a question for you, and I know I'm going to put you on the spot.
I know it.
I'll wait for those.
I am going to put you on the spot. How often is your personal phone used during the day between PD, IT, and finance?
Occasionally.
No, I want, is it more than 50%?
No, I wouldn't say it's more than 50%. A lot of times when, that's what I choose to use to be able to, if PD needs to be able to get a hold of me or anyone else, I call Joyce on her cell phone, she calls me on mine.
Well, because it just dawned on me that you have that and we're using it. I know I use it to get in touch with you. You're sending me information via that all the time. When I'm asking you for information, if you're at home, you're logging in and you're utilizing that a lot more, and I think that the board needs to know that, because we have a code enforcement that has a phone, we have PD that have phone that use that primarily as their town of Tilton. And I think it's time when we have, if in fact we have an IT, not finance, but IT, that has to go from building to building and do what you do for IT.
Interesting language.
I'll tell you where I use it, where I really use it a lot, and I would say 80% of the time or more is when I'm in the server room, because there's no phone in there.
Right.
And when I'm in a cruiser, and I use it extensively in those situations. And then I can also remote into the servers from this because it's large enough. So sometimes I've had to do that from my cruiser while I'm talking to somebody, diagnosing something. So those are the times when I really use it. Just, but that's not
All right. I think the board needs to take into consideration, we don't have to act on it, but I think we need to think about that a little bit further, because, if I know how expensive mine is, and I know how many minutes and data and everything else that I use on it, and I know what portion of that I use for town and being a selectman, and I volunteered to step up to the plate to be a selectman, but I know how much this costs me, and I don't think it should cost an employee to be used as a tool doing their job. That's my opinion.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yep.
So I would hope that the board would take into consideration under the IT
Right. You should have a phone,
budget.
Is it OOG?
a town phone.
What we do is like we do for the welfare.
Welfare, either do it that way, but it needs to be budgeted one way or another.
Correct.
Under IT.
I agree.
Either do it the way we do it for the welfare, or do it through whatever's the best way, but...
Probably the welfare would probably be the better way for me.
Come up with a figure.
So can you look into that and come up with us a figure next week for us on that?
Thank you.
We can look into it a little bit further. Okay, any, under the administration, are these the figures for healthcare here? Health insurance? This is what our cost is, correct?
Well, that's it. That's
At the
showing-
7.9%?
Right, but that's also showing the net 10% contribution.
Okay, so we can't do anything except on the administration portion of it, the budget,
Right. The other thing missing,
liability.
I did not have an opportunity to put in any workers' comp or property liability, and we're looking at the workers' comp right
Do we have estimates under building maintenance? Do we have estimates coming in for work that you wanted to have scheduled for building maintenance?
No, the only ones we've got so far were the masonry repairs.
Right.
Did any estimates come in for the
roof?
the roof over the senior center? Okay. All right.
Well, that wouldn't come out of this one anyway, would it?
It may, if the board decides to do that, it may. Not building maintenance. It may.
now. Well,
We haven't decided to do that. It would,
Budget estimate, I mean, I do have the one that we have, that we got back with the original USDA grant application.
no, that would change
That
now.
would change?
Yeah, that's been years. That's 4 years. The prices of everything have gone up considerably. So, are there any departments that we can vote on?
Well, the workers' comp and the property liability, we have those numbers. Now, in the workers' comp, hopefully we'll get that adjusted. I did talk with Dennis Catherine, he said that 70-30 should be switched around. Right now, it's 70% road construction, 30% street labor, and so it should be more like 30% road construction, 70% street labor.
Right.
So can we make a,
Maybe even less. It really depends on, because those are things you report yearly. So he really should keep track of what his employees
I don't
are
see any
doing for
estimates
workers'
on
comp. It doesn't have to be real detailed. It's like, I can't think of any roads they did do this year. Over here, we subcontracted that out to an entity. I mean, yes, there were a couple of guys, they ran a loader for one day, and then they were manning rakes.
He said that the bulk of their work is in mowing. Occasionally, they will replace culverts.
But we didn't do that this year.
It's, mowing.
30% seems high for
They're,
road construction, that's all. Because we really don't,
That seems high for road construction.
30% of
Yeah,
their
it
time
does.
is not spent on road
Well, right,
construction.
but that also covered snow plowing.
No, so snow plowing had its own category. Yeah, it did.
It should.
Thought it did.
Should, but it didn't.
But down at the bottom, it had snow plowing.
They should give us one for snow plowing, because
Hang on,
street
I think I
laborer
have
is
the
the guy
paper.
with the rake.
The mower, the weed whacker.
And then parks, is that what we're talking?
No, we're talking about workman's comp.
Yeah, he
Right.
gave us the paper, and they were...
They
on-
really should,
Snow removal, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
they should give us more rates.
Snow removal.
He said he would give
That was
us
a
more
different
rates.
category.
He would give
Oh,
us,
and I asked Dennis about with the mechanic position, he said the mechanic was part of his job, but that he does everything else that all the other people do.
yes, but how much of his time, if the vehicle comes in to be repaired, is he the one that repairs it? Or do they have someone else do it?
Well, the guys do certain things themselves. on
They
the
fix some
vehicles.
lights.
Yeah, they do that.
But with, there is a vehicle that has to be repaired,
It's him.
it's him.
Right, but if he were to get injured, he's also out doing
Well, no
everything
one,
else that is-
but the
that
point is, when
He's not
you're
just a
keeping,
mechanic.
we know that, none of them are just anything. When he keeps track of their hours, you know, if he has spent 88% of his time that week repairing vehicles, then that's really how his hours should be reported. If the next week he's been, you know, here moving furniture and he hasn't repaired any cars, then that week's worth, that would be something else.
I know, but each position that's in our payroll system is coded with one of these payroll class codes, because they pull the information directly from the wages paid according to those class codes. And then they have another category here where, like the overtime, they know would go to
No.
the road construction.
You know, we can save money on this, or we can't.
Oh, no, we will. But what I'm saying is, I don't think they fine tune it down to that point. I think they would look at a job description, they'd figure out how much time is spent on each.
For 30 years in Dawson's Concrete, every year I was audited, and every year it was different, my labor force and what they did, how many hours they spent at it.
I know, but how are we going to?
It's because you're automated, but the point is, if you look at an no, or you look at an individual and you class them, if you've got somebody that's, you know, not out mowing cemeteries, which doesn't take place with that individual, then where are you going to class them as mowing cemeteries? Even though if everybody was out sick and he was the only one left, then we'd have two,
Mowing cemeteries gets classed with the street labor category.
and he doesn't do that either.
Yes, he does, he's out there picking up trash.
Oh, yeah, Arthur does that stuff.
Blowing leaves, and he's out there doing it.
Not often.
Well, I'm going by what Dennis said.
Yeah, well.
You have to go by the department head.
Well, except that, think about this. How has that department changed over the past 5 years? We hired an individual because they were maintaining the parks, and we needed that individual. They don't maintenance the parks. So if they're not repairing sidewalks, which they didn't do any this year, they didn't do any road work, what are they doing?
Well, they do the cemeteries, they take care of,
So why do we have the extra hire?
he hired him, whatever his reason was, I
Right.
don't know.
So my point is, you have more people and less to do.
I didn't think he,
Okay, but they,
He hired a part-time guy in the winter to plow.
yeah, for
No,
plowing,
I didn't even mention that.
What new employee do we have that I didn't know about?
right.
Right.
I was gonna
We
say,
hired them a couple of years ago, because they were maintaining the parks. But let's move on. It doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Not there now.
Is the job
It's okay. Let's go
Whether
on.
the person actually physically does that work,
Yeah.
or doesn't that work? If it's
I know how they do it. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move
I
on.
have one quick
I'm
question.
not going to beat the dead horse anymore.
Last night at the Budget Committee, that we were asked on the highway budget for highway equipment maintenance and repair.
Donovan Spring.
Yeah, Donnie?
That came up last night.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, yeah,
Yep,
they found it.
okay,
The Budget Committee found it.
All right,
It was
good.
Donovan Spring.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I think that we can,
I mean, the numbers that we've been given, I think we can enter those into the budget. We know we're going to fine tune the workers' comp.
so we can accept the administrative, we could vote to approve the administrative budget with the exception of health insurance,
Dental,
dental, and liability.
right.
Can we do that?
The dental, there was no increase.
there was no increase.
So
Okay,
health
so-
insurance
Yep,
and liability.
right.
We can make a motion to accept the budget as it stands today, pending corrections.
Can I ask a question
changes.
before we do that?
We really did.
It says here that we didn't actually give any merit raises this year in town hall.
Because they've been paid out to the employee already, to a
But it says the expense is zero.
Well, because it's actually a transfer of budget. Because when you look at an employee's line, you'll see that their budget went up and the budget in the merit line went down. Because as there's more and more expense because of their increase, then it's matched up with their budget.
And that would make perfectly good sense to me. This, however, does not make sense to me at all. We had no expense on that line, but I
That's correct.
know for a fact we did.
No, the expense
But no.
was actually, in the salary lines. That's where the expense is charged. So if I got an
That's
increase,
very misleading, because anybody that looked
No,
at
not
this
yet.
would say, oh, they didn't give any merit raises this year. But indeed, they did.
No, if you look at,
Merit
you
raise.
had, you did,
7 lines down.
I know, you had a line there that said used, percent used.
if you don't, well, let me put it this way, if you do it the way you're talking about, Joe, then you will show every employee that got an increase as being over expended for the year.
Well, their actual budgeted salary amount was overextended,
Right, that's what it'll show. It'll show each one is over.
because that's the reality of it.
This is the way we've been doing it, though, for
But
years,
these
Joe.
two,
And I didn't like it the last
those two
times
middle
either.
lines, they're just for our informational purposes.
In here they are.
You're right.
If you were to look at.
So if you look at your expenditure report, that tells the story.
But
But
I'm
this
looking
is,
at what Tim just
this
gave
is our
us.
worksheet.
But it's still gonna show you what he's talking about. If you were to look at your October summary, you're still gonna see a reduced budget. And that's the way we've done it, mainly because, from a reconciliation standpoint, it's just very, very challenging when you have, particularly in admin, which admin collects all the retirement, taxes, in Medicare, Social Security for not just people in the admin budget, but also finance, town clerk, tax collector, health, welfare. So you have all those, coming into this one place. So there's about 13 different accounts that hits. So by apportioning out the merit into those budgets,
The attorney?
then you don't
Does she
have
know
to
to
change
come
where
upstairs?
they're being expended. In other words,
I was just,
for an audit standpoint, when somebody looks at the end of the year, you don't want to see that you paid me out of the finance line for 98%, but then 2% I got paid out of the merit line. Because then that's misleading in a way as well, because someone will look at the finance line and say, oh, he only got paid this. But I really got paid 2% more than that. You follow?
I follow that part of it, but there's no expense? You don't list how much you've taken out of there?
The expense is in the salary lines.
Okay,
So we
let's
have to
move,
search through every line on the salaries to
we have a
figure out
lawyer
what it-
coming in a couple of minutes, and we have to stop, so can we just,
Well,
take
we
up
think
the...
we've got one.
Yeah, we think we've got one,
Was she downstairs?
with a counter check. For the
So-
sake, but for the sake of time, we can perhaps maybe go into that a little bit more depth with the selectmen next week on what,
I have a question while
Merit.
we're waiting for the attorney. It says authorized budget.
I was going to make a motion.
I know. But those are, I mean, we can make a motion after the attorney.
Yeah.
I just find it funny we make a motion to accept the budget. Anyway, under authorized budget, is that actually what was budgeted in our, if I open this up, is that what I'm going to see in the budget?
Nope. It's down here,
I saw
at the
that,
very end.
where the asterisk is.
They include encumbrances, general fund related warrant articles, and budget transfers. So when there's a warrant article that says,
No, I'm talking about if I go in there and look at salary selectmen, am I going to find $18,000?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, if I
you're not
go in
going to
and,
see it on every single one of them. Because when the board makes a budget transfer during the year,
Right, you won't see it.
then it's going to differ from what's in the annual report.
Right. Like,
then can we have a column, like we used to have, that listed what was in the annual report?
I can do that.
Thank you. Okay, make your motion.
okay, great.
She's not here?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so, for the sake of moving on,
There's just an admin budget.
yes,
Tim, remember on the reappraisal of property, we were not going to gross appropriate, we were just going to appropriate the amount that we needed. And we would be pulling money from the capital reserve fund. Do we want to take that out and do a warrant article for the whole thing? Remember the conversation we had with Shelley on the truck? I mean, that's okay, we can raise and appropriate that 38,568, take the money out of the capital reserve fund, but unless we do a warrant article, we're not going to be able to show it as revenue.
Right. Yeah, I
So
think.
what is your preference? You want to show it as revenue?
No. Yes, we do.
All right, so,
So we need to gross appropriate that.
all right, so you want to gross appropriate
Yeah,
that in a warrant article, so that means that would be zero.
I will briefly check.
Okay, whatever your
the RA,
preference is.
But I would think that we would want to take that.
Revenue. Okay, and then my second question is the Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid.
how can you show it as, I don't get
Well,
that.
the DRA, providing you have the full expense in your operating budget, or through a warrant article.
Yeah,
So, where we're showing the entire amount being paid to, say, Avatar for the reappraisal of property next year,
yeah,
that then we can show that amount coming out of the capital reserve. So the $53,000 that we're going to withdraw from the capital reserve fund
okay.
then offsets the $53,000.
That you're
of
putting
expense.
in. Okay, I got it now.
So, in other words, you can't take one without the other.
Okay, got it.
So you either got to do it all one way or all the other way.
Okay,
And this way, somebody, Joe, this is one, the taxpayer can say, oh, our reappraisal property is only going to cost us $38,000. No, it's going to cost you $90,000, $53,000 of which is coming from the capital reserve fund, and that's revenue.
Okay.
Offsetting revenue.
so, to wrap up budget, we still need to do some work on health insurance. We've made a motion, you're going to get the final figures for us next week on that. Does the board want to come in at 2 o'clock to finalize our budget next week?
Why not?
Sure.
All right, and,
Well, it's not going to be final.
no, it's really not. I mean, we can finalize a lot of departmental ones. Have we heard from, did the Pines come in last night?
No,
They rescheduled.
only the library.
They rescheduled.
They did?
Well,
It's too bad, I was going to make a motion to accept 57.5.
They rescheduled from the first time they went out, but I don't think they were due in the
Not till-
current thing to be in here last night.
Is this updated from the budget committee, from last night's?
They made no changes
I
on it.
made nothing. We
Made no
voted on
changes
nothing.
last night.
And it does have the current expenses as of 11/14.
Okay, so,
But there will be a couple other little...
Heinz is coming in next week.
next week? Okay,
We did, Joyce was reminding me, we did receive an invoice for fire dispatch for this year.
yep,
of a little over, between $1,000 and $1,200.
A little over
Or
1,200.
a little over 1,200.
We have no appropriation.
Yeah, so
Can't pay us.
we'll either have to.
Where'd that
find
come
out-
from?
The extra money that was from the difference between the county and doing it direct to them. Brad came in and explained that to us. But we have no appropriation to where that's coming out of. So we have to take it out of someplace. So where are we?
We're not authorized to pay it.
Or we
You-
can add it
add
to
it
the
to-
2014.
Yeah, you can't take it out if there's no line item to take it out
So
of.
before I called them and told them that that's what I was going to do, I wanted to make sure that the board approved it.
I'm okay with that, taking it out, adding it to the 2014 amount. Okay.
So there'll be some little fine-tuning things.
Okay.
Provide that to you, and then also split out the solid waste, residential and commercial.
The solid waste, and also you're going to get back to us on IT. Do you have a final IT budget? I know you've done some changes to it.
I have done some changes, I wouldn't say it's final.
Can-
I'm still waiting on a couple of figures for people.
Do you think you might have a more accurate one next week, or close to
Absolutely.
accurate?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, absolutely, and there's something I'm working on, the chief, with changing something that I had anticipated doing one way.
Sure.
I think there's sufficient
Sit here
budget
for a while.
already in
I'll
there
move
to
my
do
stuff.
it,
Yeah.
but, and I can go through the rationale with the board, but at some point, we may want to discuss some of that in non-public.
Okay, so next week, non-public. Okay. And you're going to, also IT, you're going to check on phone
Yes. Made a note of that.
prices and get that information to us so that we can fine-tune this. All right? I think that's a wrap. Everybody okay with that? Anybody got any questions for Tim, Joyce?
Just stay at the table.
Thank you.
Sit there. I want to take notes.
Okay, next on our agenda is Kate Miller, right, from MetroCast. Well, you're the attorney that's,
Yes.
our attorney that's going to help us with the MetroCast franchise contract. Okay,
I
Have a seat.
hate her,
come on up, speak right into the mic.
only based on their profession, not their personality.
Okay, good.
This is attorney-client.
Yeah.
So we can do this as a non-meeting consultation with counsel?
Yes, and I think,
Shall we recess?
yes,
Yes.
attorney-client.
So no minutes need to be taken.
We're just taking a few notes, if that's all right.
Notes is fine, but in terms of the
minutes need to-
obligation.
And we're back from recess.
Reality.
All right. Let me see, okay.
We're back, we're here at the town hall.
She's going downstairs.
Pardon
Just
me?
did.
You're on top of it.
Thank you.
All right, now
See?
we start with the
Fucking lawyer.
reports from the selectmen until Joyce gets back. We're really supposed to get her started. She's not here, so.
Can't believe I did that.
I can.
Let's just move along.
Just go when you're ready, and I'll just move on unless you're ready to go now.
real tea.
Ready.
All right,
It is what it is.
Happens.
Catherine, do you have anything for us tonight? I'm moving on because,
I'm gonna need Joyce, I think.
okay.
There's
then-
green ribbons all over Caleb Hill Road up by the, especially the Range Road corner.
green ribbons.
Yep, somebody's out there, I don't know if it's surveyors, but I've had 2 residents call me, on one area, I mean, they're like 20 feet off the road. Well, the state doesn't own 20 feet off the road. I know they're gonna be doing some blasting and stuff up there, so I don't know if that's the state.
I don't know.
But there's green ribbons up there, I was gonna go up tomorrow and check it out. Nobody's heard, nobody knows, so maybe that's a Joyce question.
Yeah, maybe she's heard something.
The other item I have is probably going to take some discussion, so it doesn't have to be discussed now, but I'll bring it up. We can postpone it for another time. The recent road project, asphalting project we had on Center Street was not handled in the selectman's office, and it should have been. When I got a copy of the information that was asked under 91A by resident, I asked where the certificate of insurance was. There wasn't one. Nobody, that was alarming to me.
That's,
The recent road,
Center Street, Tryon.
Tryon.
there was no certificate of insurance. So we need Joyce up here.
But my point is, I mean, probably they had insurance,
That's
but
not the point.
before they even stepped onto the property, the minute they were awarded the contract,
How do we know that we don't, how do you know that we don't have it?
because I asked for it when they said, where's the certificate of insurance? And I was told there wasn't one. And there were a lot of other things that went wrong with this project. My point is, a project of that size should be overseen by the Board of Selectmen.
we're responsible for it, so yeah.
Exactly. The experience is here with the administrator, the finance director, and our own experience with dealing with these types of projects. Overseen on the site, that's one thing, but when it's in the budgeting process, there was no RFP that went out for that project, and I know there wasn't, because I asked where was the RFP.
And there wasn't one.
And there wasn't one. And no one else felt there should have been one created. But if you read the invoices, the bids that came in, all of the square footage is different, and it says, as shown by. So there was no measurement made by the town of the square footage and said, okay, we have approximately X amount of square feet that needs to be reclaimed and paved. So everybody's bidding on the same thing. Each one of them came up. When you do that, there's a possibility you're going to forget to tell somebody something, or you're going to tell them something different than you told the past other 3 or 4.
Then you're gonna get an extra.
I'm unclear about something. You said there was no RFP, but yet there were bids that came in.
Yeah, you call up the phone and say, hey, you want to come out and look at a job I've got to have done?
No, that's me, that's not the town of
There were
Tilton.
estimates that came in, because he told us the estimates that came in.
By request for proposal. In other words, we didn't create.
It wasn't an official thing?
Correct.
They were called up and said, come look at my job. I asked for an RFP when it was brought to our attention this project was going to take place. And he said, we don't need one. So if you look at these, 4,160 square feet.
How stupid am I? I assumed this was the result of an RFP.
No, I asked directly. Maybe I didn't. 4,300 square feet, as shown by. There was no RFP. So what I'm telling you
Anything
is,
above that is extra.
what I'm telling you is, we need 3,930 square foot. So they didn't all bid on the same thing. You know,
If you
there.
award the job to the guy that had 3,900 square feet,
There is
in
no
actuality, no, I'm saying
I think
actuality, it was-
before we go any further with this, let's call Dennis in next week and we'll talk about
It's
this.
got nothing to do with bringing him in.
I want to know, I have some questions on it. Why don't we?
That's just a waste of time.
It is not a waste of
The
time.
point is, I'm not criticizing, there's an excellent job that was done, but the steps to get there should be uniform.
Exactly. So if we don't have the department head responsible for not making it uniform, we cannot make it uniform.
Yes, we can. We make a policy, and we tell all our department heads that any capital project will be handled and bid out by the Board of Selectmen. End of story.
Well, we definitely have a policy about RFPs.
I suggest you sit down for a second.
But we'll let that one.
3 bids.
So,
And we decide who gets it.
you know,
There's
and there
no
are,
certificate of insurance on the Center Street project, the road project.
Center Street.
Yeah, over there.
Tryon
Oh,
Lane.
on Busby, we didn't have one?
When I got these documents as copies of what were handed out in the 91A, the first thing I said, where's the certificate of insurance? I mean, the W-9's not there, but you can get that after a fact because you can withhold payment until you get it. But if you have a project done and you don't have a certificate of insurance on file that names you as additional insured, you've just laid your neck out there. I already asked
Oh, was it-
downstairs a couple weeks ago when I got this.
Oh, did we look in the file and did we look online?
What did you ask, Catherine?
I know I asked him, and I don't remember who else I asked. But, and the fact of the matter is, that's just one little teeny portion of what was wrong with the well, for me, that was a big portion, what was wrong with the project. I think the bigger inequity is that an RFP should have been created and sent out. I think the projects, especially of that size, should be handled by the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. I mean, Dennis is just going by that he's got to get 3 estimates.
That's right.
For whatever work he's done, any equipment that he's purchased, he gets his 3 estimates. And he gets estimates even if it's less than 500. He still covers himself with estimates. He'll call and check.
But the broad range of these estimates is so big that how can you get an estimate?
It was a $75,000 project.
Yeah.
It should have been handled like any other project of that size, and we didn't. I said RFP, no one else seemed to agree with me, and it just went out without an RFP. We should never do a project of that size without going through the formal process of a request for proposal. But like I said, we can discuss it further later.
Well, did you want Dennis to come in?
What kind of information do we need to gather in order to make a policy or plan in effect for the office to go forward from this point on? I think that all department heads should be, not just, but wouldn't this also include Park Commission? I mean, they're bidding on jobs for landscaping and things like that.
The park commissioners send out RFPs.
But you want the RFPs to be handled through the selectman's office, and that's what they don't do.
Well, the park commissioners are different because the Board of Selectmen gave them authority. The others don't have authority.
Right, but they still have
they-
to follow the town's
Then
internal
where's the RFP?
financial control.
Where's the RFP for this project? There wasn't one. All I'm saying is we need to change our policy, the way we bid jobs. This is a $75,000
Okay,
job.
So,
I mean, the biggest job the park commissioners bid out was a little over $4,000. This is $75,000.
So if we're going to do that and make a policy with the town, the Parks Commission also has to go within the line of that as well.
Why?
Why not?
Because
The
they
park
still have to...
commissioners operate
to-
under an authority by RSA.
right, but they
There are a
still
lot of things that the park commissioners can do that the other department heads cannot.
They're still under they still...
prudential affairs of the selectmen.
Right.
No, okay.
They still have to go by the guidelines presented by...
And they do.
The municipal...
They do.
And if we...
But this Board of Selectmen gave them specific authority, which is granted by RSA, to go out and enter into contractual agreements.
But why is the park commission even being brought into the situation?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
The reason why I brought it into the conversation is because I'm thinking of who we need to have here so that we can get this resolved and move forward from it.
I don't know why we need anyone to
We're going to
have
come up
here.
with the plan and say, everybody has to live by this, whether it's the police, whether it's senior center, whether it's highway department, whether it's Parks Commission, with anybody going forward. That's why it's coming into this conversation, than for no other reason.
Right, so right now, the policy that we have is that the selectmen require that anything over $500 has to go out for bid. It doesn't say that you have to go get the selectmen to approve your request for proposal. It has to go out for bid. So what you're saying is now that everything or up to a certain dollar amount, there has to be a formal
sorry, I brought it
request for
up.
proposal that's approved by the Board of
But I
Selectmen.
thought we were always supposed to approve anything over $500 in front of the selectmen.
Oh, we
you
approved
did.
it.
With the right process, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and you have, it's just that his didn't go out for a formal
I know that.
request for proposal. All the work on the police station that we did do formal RFPs. On work that's on the town hall, we do formal RFPs.
So if we do it for everybody, everything else, and this one didn't get done, why? That's the question.
Because that's the way Dennis runs his
But
department.
that's not how Dennis is supposed to run his department. You run it like everybody else in the town.
According to the policy, it just has to go out to bid. It doesn't
Right.
say request for proposal
Exactly.
specifically.
We'll go out to
Exactly.
Add bids.
And if we're going to change the
So-
policy,
so
we
what
we
is-
need to
then
have
we-
all of them here.
Need to make it,
Why?
We can change the policy and send it out to them.
Are you going to ask their permission
No, I'm
for
not.
us to do our
going to
duty?
tell
No, I'm not.
No criticism.
But I'm not going to sit here and argue the point either.
Well, I guess you are, you just did. This is not criticism on the department head,
Well, that shouldn't be criticism on the point of the selectmen either.
but it is.
All right,
But it
all
absolutely
right.
is. I sat
Somebody
here and
bang the
said, why
gavel.
aren't we sending out an RFP?
For what?
on the paving
Oh,
project.
On that, the paving project? Okay.
You know what?
He went, well,
I'm all
he came
set.
in with his 3 bids, and the board approved it.
And that's the policy as it stands.
So he,
I'm not, I'm not denying anything that took place.
So
I'm
if we
saying
wanna
what
change
we
the
allowed to
policy-
take place was incorrect, that we made a mistake. The department head didn't.
Right.
He didn't make the mistake.
How did we make
Got
a
3
mistake if
bids.
Because
that's
we
the
didn't
policy?
require an RFP. I don't care what the policy is.
okay, well,
I'm missing something here
our
then.
Yes, we
policy
are.
is we
All
get
right,
3
you think
bids.
it's a mistake, we should make that codify it, yeah?
Bingo.
All right, she's
We need to
proposing that we
change our
codify the
policy.
request for proposal.
That's what we're trying to say, Catherine.
Yeah, but you want to get the department head's permission.
I do not want to get the
course you do.
department head's interest
It's all
or
right.
permission.
Joyce, I have a question for you. I'm all set with that. Forget I even brought it up. It's okay. Joyce, on Caleb Hill Road.
Yes.
There are green flags getting put up all over the place.
Green flags?
Yeah, like surveyor's flags, but surveyor's flags aren't typically green. I think they're,
Yellow and red.
Orange.
yeah, they're supposed to be orange.
Yeah, orange.
I don't know why green flags would be out there. They're out towards the end by Grange Road.
Is it green and blue for wetlands out there?
Blue is wetlands, orange would be
They
like for
shouldn't
dig
be
safe.
on miscellaneous, if somebody's having their wetlands map, they shouldn't be on miscellaneous property owners' properties.
Well, maybe they got permission.
No, they didn't, that's why they called me.
Therein lies the problem.
Okay. Green flags on the Caleb Hill Grange Road end.
So you haven't heard anything?
No.
All right, I was gonna take a ride out and look and meet with one of them.
Never seen green- I've seen blue, I've seen orange, I've seen pink surveyor's tape,
Yeah, I told them
Black and white
I'd
for,
never heard of green.
Boundary for wetlands.
and I've seen white
White and black for boundary.
spray paint.
Yes.
Yeah.
White and black.
White and black for boundary.
All right, I'll go take a look, and then I'll call District 3 and see if they got anything going on. Because I know that they were going to go up and do something with the ledge. Almost up.
Do you have your things, Joyce? It's gonna be real light. You got your minutes yet?
Everybody take a breath.
I'd like to ask a question, but I don't want to. If we make a policy, and you guys can say, go bury your head in sand. If we make a policy that over 500, they need 3 bids, or if the project is over X amount of dollars, we put it out to bid? I mean, is that what we're talking about looking at?
An RFP.
There would be a specific request for proposal letter sent out to a certain amount of people, and that would be a slight change in policy, I think, as far as codifying it.
Yeah, well, all I'm getting at is, when would anyone that works for the town know? Is it just 3 bids because it's over 500? Is there like a ceiling?
Well, right now, there isn't.
Right, I understand that, and I can appreciate that you might want to put out an RFP, but do we separate the two by a dollar value or the
Perhaps.
size of a job?
Perhaps we'll have to have this as a separate discussion.
Okay, I can live with that.
Personally, I'd rather have it another day.
Okay, no, I was,
Today doesn't seem to be a good day.
okay.
For that.
You satisfied what I was going through
Okay.
my mind. Okay.
Okay, this was a short work week, so since last Thursday, not a lot got done. We did get our tax bills, and Cindy's, that copy machine was smoking when I went downstairs. So that will be good. Those will be due December 20th. I already mentioned I had spoken with Dennis. He described for me what his guys do, so my next call is to workers' comp to make sure that we can find the correct category based upon what their job descriptions say and what Dennis described that they do and the amount of time that they spend on that. I tried, but I just didn't get a chance to get through to anybody today. And we made the decision on the medical rates, that's good. I sent to Peggy at the New Hampshire Veterans Home some samples of agreements that we currently have with the state on the Winnipesaukee River Basin project and also our Trails Association. And then I took Dan Crean's, the use agreement that he crafted for the town using the parking spaces, and sent all that plus a tax map and best management practices, whatever, and she emailed back and she said, Joyce, I'll get right on this. Tim did review it. His suggestion was to make it a 2-year agreement instead of automatically renewing annually. So I guess when we get down to, once we see what they present, we can look at it, and if you want to make that change at that time, we can. On 16 Prospect Street, I'm just waiting back to hear from Greg Peverly. I had emailed him earlier and just gave him an update on where we were exactly on all the property. I'm still putting together a scope of services. I'll call it an RFP, just to make sure that we've got everything in there to protect the town and exactly what you want done, so that I can send out, I've got a number of phone numbers of people I can call them, get their address, mail it to them. And I had told Greg that I hope to have everything cleaned out of the house and ready either the last week of November, by the last week of November, at the absolute latest, the first week of December.
Okay.
And then also, we had originally talked about having December 14th as the auction date. We can still meet that, we've met that deadline, that when the parties responded to the notices were covered, but I'm suggesting perhaps we go to the 21st, because there's still a lot that needs to be done, to come up with the final amount, working with Tim on getting the numbers. So he should have a contract ready for you to review, and I think at that time, if we could have him come in and talk with him. So, and then I'd asked Pat if on next Thursday, if we could meet briefly with the Winnipesaukee River Trail Association to go over the design. There were 2 designs that were submitted to DOT for the trail location and where the bridge was going to land. The preferred design was to have the bridge land on the new piece that the Conservation Commission purchased, which they're fine with, but DOT is saying no, that they have to keep the trail, that we have to dismantle the Dick Mare crossing, which was put in temporarily, and keep the trail on the north side of the, on the south side. This is back further on the trail. And then put in a new crossing at Knapp Road to bring it onto the north side. We wanted to just keep the Mare crossing, keep it on the north side, and then tie into Ernie's, and then from Ernie's it will cross over, to the other Concom piece, and then from the bridge and over. And DOT is saying, no, it has to stay on the south side. And we have concerns because there are abutters there on Riverside Drive. So they'll come in, they'll bring the plans, they just want to bring the board up to date and see where we go from there.
So, that all being said, where do they want to put the bridge, Joyce?
on the other side, on the other Concom piece.
Yeah, okay, where?
Oh, you'll see when they bring in the plans.
Why are they coming before
You
the
know where
Board of
Ernie's
Selectmen?
is? And then the two skinny properties beside Ernie's?
There's Peninsula Park and Ernie's.
Okay, well, Peninsula Park, they want to put it along there, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we're golden, now I know where it's going.
Yeah.
Why are they coming before the Board of Selectmen?
Because where their trail is going to go, it will impact the abutters on Riverside Drive, and it was our intention, the trail's intention all along, to keep it on the north side.
So is
that
this a
it would-
public hearing for the abutters?
No, it's just they're bringing the plans to the selectmen
Bring this
to
up to
show you.
Why wouldn't they
what-
bring it to the Conservation Commission?
Oh, the conservation is coming too. But I had to get down a date, nail down a
Well, just
date.
as there's no decision for the Board of Selectmen to make.
No, it's just
They're giving
bringing
us an
up to date.
update.
An update.
That's
We
all.
asked them to update us when we got the design on the bridge and where it was going.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, yeah, remember a long time ago we went?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
did.
No, I mean, it's, properties managed by the Conservation Commission.
Yeah.
Here.
Yes. So
They'll get
we're good to
updated,
go
we'll
with
get
that?
updated.
Okay, good. And then, Rip Patton on the Ernie's site, he'll be coming in on December 5th to give us all an update on that and where we're going with the petroleum cleanup.
Have we any potential dates to see a bridge?
That would be a good question for when the WRTA comes
I
in.
will, if you don't have that answer, I will be.
Oh, I don't. It would be, they're the ones that have been, because the contract is between the town of Northfield, DOT, and WRTA. Our agreement is just with, we provide for the trail that's existing, we provide the maintenance and insurance for it. And then the Conservation Commission has given the Trails Association permission to put the trail and bridge through both properties.
Okay.
The Conservation Commission going to be noticed at the second meeting for the update on the contamination?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Perfect.
And tomorrow, I didn't get a chance to send out the open enrollment notices, that's happening tomorrow morning. They're going out tomorrow morning.
All right.
When is the due date for that?
To get back to the, to me, to decide what they want to enroll in, December 15th.
Okay. Wait.
And it can even go later. It just wouldn't go into effect until February. For that change wouldn't go into effect until February. So that's why we want to try and get them in before the end of December. And now that I have this, that the board voted to do the 12%, that will go in this because they may want to the other plans.
Right.
And that's all I have for you. I mean, I could drone on, but I won't.
Okay. I have just received an email from, now that we're meeting, I'm going to bring it up, from Eric Prue, who lets us know once in a while if things come available. And he has 4 of these cluster seats for sale with another 3 available in the coming month. They may need a little TLC near the legs, and one you'll need to remove a naughty word in paint. I'm wondering if the town would have the funds to purchase these for $300 each. They are valued brand new at over $1,000 each.
Are you talking about?
This is what they are.
Cafeteria-style seating.
Yeah, but what is it, where do the proceeds go?
What do we need them for?
Oh, we're selling them.
No, we're buying them.
Be good at
There's some,
Let's see if we want to buy them.
Oh,
They're easy to clean.
for what possible reason?
No, that's 4 people, where are you going to put them?
Where would they
Tables
go?
fit far more than that. And they're handicap accessible.
Where would they go?
I don't know. Pat's suggesting Riverfront Park, but we don't need them in Riverfront.
Oh, it's a park seat.
Yeah.
Well, it's a park seat connected with the table.
See, an umbrella goes in the middle?
Yeah, okay, I get it now. Well, wouldn't that be a park commission thing?
Well, he's offering it to the town. He comes to the town first, and then if whatever department needs it.
I see. Well, then we should pass that to the
Forward it to the
department.
park commissioners.
Because I don't think the town, I can't see a use for. Maybe the Parks Commission would disagree, and they'd say, oh, yeah, we want those. Maybe so.
Would they be of any use to us at the island, or no?
Oh, that would be dog ugly. I think.
It wouldn't go with what's on the island currently, I don't think.
Yeah, that would be dog ugly.
I'd have to piece it, because I just replied to him, I couldn't open it up, that's why I had Tim here.
Not only
asking
that,
me to
but if
open
we
it up.
put anything on
me
that
put the
island,
picture-
don't we need the other owner's permission as well? Even if not their
We
financial
didn't when we bought the
participation?
benches. We bought the benches from Tango last year, and we put them on the island.
Yeah, they probably, but technically, we own half of it, so if we keep them on our side, and it's not costing them any money, and there's no liability to them.
True.
So, I mean, technically, you could buy them without asking them and keep them on our side of the boundary line, but I don't think they're that anal anyway.
Is there a boundary per se?
Yep.
All right, okay.
In what's ours and
We
what's
just
theirs?
shared the
Come on, you could have that.
ownership. I didn't realize.
You could have
there was
that
a boundary.
surveyed.
There is a boundary between Northfield side of the island and Tilton. Are you serious?
No.
Good.
Oh, well, then it's a shared space.
I've just
so-
heard it all, if that's the,
No.
I was just really
No,
gonna
the entire island.
chuck it all in tonight for
Entire
that.
island is within the town of Northfield.
I was ready to just chuck it all in, leave my chocolate, and go
The
home.
deed says we both own it jointly.
that's
Okay, I
No, there's no boundary line down the island. I was messing with
Well,
you.
hey, look, back in the day, who knows what they might
I
have
was messing
done,
with
right?
you.
All right, so I will say I'll forward it. We have no use, actually, we don't really, I can't think of any other place, there's no place for it downtown.
Right.
Vest Pocket, it's too busy. We don't really have a place.
No.
We don't know of anybody downtown that would,
Not that I know
The
of.
parks might have, maybe they want to put one over at the island.
I'll just let them know that I'll
Buffalo
forward it to
Park or something.
Parks Commission.
That would have to go to the Conservation Commission.
Oh,
For
I'll forward
Buffalo.
both of them.
Well,
Oh,
Doug,
Buffalo Park, yeah.
Send it to both.
maybe they'd want it
Yeah.
on,
Maybe they want it over at Ernie's.
yeah. So,
Maybe.
But send it to both.
That's
All right.
their option.
I'll have to piece the picture with the email, because it came in as corrupted.
They'll like
So he texted me the
responding.
picture. Good technology here, huh? All right, November 30th and December 1st is the Senior Center Craft Fair, and that's going to be held at, it's a fundraiser for the Senior Center. It's going to be held at the old Agway Building, Auto Service Building, from 9 to 4 both days. And if you know of any crafters that would like a table, they're $15 a table for each day, and get in touch with Emily LaPlante. That's coming up. Our hood on over our stove that we've waited for almost a year.
Yep.
Looks like it's coming to fruition. The fan, thanks to Nick Cansano, went out and bought a fan for it, donated it.
It's
Brian-
installed, that's
Brian
all.
Harris installed it.
Nice.
Now, we're just waiting for we're waiting for the electrician to wire for the outlet. There's a wire there for the lighting of the hood, and then they come in, fabricate the rest of the hood that goes up into the ceiling, and we're done.
There's a stainless steel backplate
They're gonna do that the same time
that
they do the
goes with
hood.
that. A real nice one. It's going to cover the majority of the wall behind the stove in stainless
The
steel.
entire wall, because it's gotta be cut
Nice.
from wall to wall. That was donated by All Metal Company. Are they in Belmont?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was donated by All Metal, so that's coming about for the senior center fundraiser. I think that we talked about the Christmas, we made some dates for the negotiations coming up on Wednesdays in the afternoon for contract negotiations with the union. Luke Penault is the negotiator on their part, and the others to be announced. I think that's all we had. I got a couple of calls on the split truck today for the recycling. On Tuesday, actually, I got a call. And I didn't understand your email as to
On
what...
Tuesday, I actually watched them dump it into the regular truck, the over-the-side truck. Don't know what to tell you.
Well, today, the truck I saw coming into Main Street, that wasn't a truck I'd ever seen before, so...
They threw it in the back?
No, it was, it was a garbage truck, but I had never seen one like this before.
Was it the one that folds up over the sides?
Yes, it must have been.
Well, that's the one they started out with. They tried an experiment, according to Jerry Tweedy from the Best Way company over there. They were, and I know they have these trucks where everything, like recycling goes on one side and the MSW goes on the other.
Yeah.
The problem with that is MSW weighs most and the recycling takes up most of the room. So long before this side gets full with the garbage, the recycling will fill up, and you can't compact it because then they can't sort it.
Right.
So they have to go to 140. It's a lot of more trips to 140. Jerry says that until they could figure out how they can get past that issue, they were going to go back to the over-the-side truck.
Right.
And that's the one that I saw on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Catherine says that the truck that she saw recycling goes in was an MSW truck, and there was not split. Now, I mentioned that somebody told me that, Jerry assured me, such as it is, that the truck is indeed split. There's 2 compartments in there, and that's
there was 2
all.
compartments.
That's all I have to relate, because having not actually seen an example of it in action, Daniels Drive, I think, was it Daniels Drive?
Right.
Joyce, where there were two complaints. Well, one guy who said that he noticed in 2, like, they picked up mine, they threw it all in the back, had recycling and everything, they did the same thing next door. That's when I called Best Way and was informed that, no, it's a split truck.
Okay.
So more than one person seen it.
The truck itself, I have not seen that
No, I
truck.
said more than one person seen it.
And
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the bottom line is, we should just remember that they are in the business of making a profit.
Well,
This
they're also in the business of not violating their contract.
Well,
If they put recycling intentionally in the back of an MSW truck, that's a clear violation of the contract.
And that was one of the questions that, you know, if you get a phone call from a resident and you don't know how to answer it, it's disconcerting, because you don't know what they're doing, and you can't go out and follow you never want to go out and follow one of those trucks, because you never know where those buckets are going to land when they drop them. Because I've seen
Well,
them
you have
roll
to stay
across the
way
street.
back.
Yeah, so...
I have followed the trucks early on. I haven't followed them for, 6 weeks or thereabouts.
I followed them down High Street, and most of the barrels came, and I called Dennis, and he called right away, but they kind of ended up in the middle of the road on High Street, and we took care of it, but I don't want to follow behind one of them, because they're such big wheels when they drop down. If they're not standing up when they drop down, when they put them back to the side of the road, they roll. If they happen to fall down, with the big wheels, they actually roll because of the weight of the barrel.
Yeah.
If there's any incline, they'll roll right down the incline.
High Street, Chestnut Street,
Good night, Kathy.
Prescott
Night,
Good night, Catherine. Prospect Street, they all have rolls to them, Maple Court.
I didn't
That's a
know.
function of the drivers. Mr. Tweedy informs me that they have a weekly training thing that all the drivers have to go to. They are constantly on them for this and that. I've also discussed with a couple of other different companies and Jerry Tweedy, because I wanted to find out if this was correct, and they all say the same thing. Oftentimes, they hire temporary help because getting a driver slash laborer person to work consistently and long-term is so difficult in that business that, a lot of guys don't have 20 years on the back of those trucks, or 10 years, or
Right, they don't.
4 months.
There's a good turnover for them, yeah.
Big turnover. So training is a constant problem, regardless of the money. People just don't have the back, shoulders, necks, or desire to
No.
do it. And the type of individual who would do that job long-term is not necessarily conducive to training.
Right.
And well, I'll let it go with that. But the difficulties are many with these individuals, and that seems to be standard across at least 3 different companies in this area. And I'm not making excuses for these guys, but it seems to be a common theme. They're working on it, trying to get them to put the barrels back on the curb and stand them up and flip the lids back over. If they miss the truck, putting the garbage back in the truck, that's something they work on all the time, and they all do.
Yep. That's really all I had, yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to say I sent you all gobs of information concerning taxi cabs and regulations and stuff. I do not mind if you have something in particular about one or another that you liked or didn't like, to let me know, and I'll put something together that, would go along with what we think we would like to see, and then I can email it to everyone so that you can pick through it and take out what you don't want to see or do want to see.
I didn't have time to read it. I saw you
Okay.
had said it, though.
Because what has come up is we have a gentleman right now that wants to start a taxi company in our town. He would like to start by early December sometime, and he's patiently waiting to see what we want to do. Now, I certainly don't mind going forward with this, and I can get it out to all of you before our next meeting, so that maybe next meeting we can discuss it. And if I send it to you, if you find faults or you have issues, if you let me know, I can make those changes so that by next week when we get together, hopefully we'll have something that we all like pretty well. So I don't know, if you really got to look at the stuff, if you have your own ideas, but, let me know. I don't mind doing it, but...
I did look at it, but what's our main purpose behind doing this? Why do we want one?
Public transportation.
No, I understand.
Because we want the transportation as far as that goes, but we want to know that whoever's driving that taxi has gone to the proper channels, that he isn't wanted for some crime by the police, that he's not a pedophile, if you will. There are certain parameters.
Insurance.
And that he has insurance, if he's going to have, help, that when that guy gets in the car, I mean, granted, he could go out and do something wrong afterwards,
Don't
but
they have to be licensed by the state?
No,
State doesn't
not in this
license
state.
them.
it's only through the towns that the state relies on the communities to do this. So we need to come up with something so that we know that that guy that's got the yellow flag up there and is going to pull over and pick you up is a reliable person.
Right.
So this is the purpose for doing it, and, like I was asked at the planning board, well, what are the selectmen doing it for? Why isn't it a planning issue? And I just explained to them, this isn't a site plan, or it might be a site plan issue, but for the most part,
It's not a land use issue.
it's not a land use issue.
It's an ordinance and licensing.
It's an
issue.
ordinance and a law, local law,
He would have to site plan his location of where he's going to store them.
if he's going to do that. You know, there would be parameters that he'd have to come in, like if he wants a spot downtown and he's gonna park his cars downtown, yes, he has to come in and do a site plan. But if he's going to have a phone service out of his home, and, you know,
Did the airport guy do that? The airport limousine guy do that? That parks downtown?
no.
Well, he wouldn't, if he was going to
Is that a
use a
form of the same-
municipal parking space downtown, he wouldn't be
Right.
site planning.
Right,
Only if he bought a piece of property and was going to convert it, would he site plan?
Okay.
but right
Board of
now,
Selectmen would have to decide whether he gets to park his,
right.
have a
Well, what
taxi
would be
cab
the
pickup.
difference between that and
The
a taxi cab requirement and a limousine requirement?
The state controls limousines and services back and forth to the airport. They do not control taxi cabs.
But the town could still, the selectmen could still make an ordinance
Oh, yeah.
To do that?
to do
Right.
that.
You can, well, it's like any state law, you can have harder, tougher laws, you just can't be more lenient than what the state is. But anyway, so if you want me to move forward, or if somebody else wants to do it, it doesn't
No,
matter to me,
please.
but I think we need to
I
get
would say
something in
please
place.
move forward. You're
Oh,
the one.
absolutely. Do you, I have one question though pertaining to land use.
Yeah.
Should I duck now?
No? Why would you do?
The one, because I'm not very knowledgeable about land use, where D-Roy's used to be,
Right?
that was an antique place, antique auction,
Yep.
which is now a physical fitness place.
Or it was, I think they
It
had,
has been, yeah,
Has been.
it was.
Isn't now.
There was
there's nothing in there now, I
I
don't
guess
think.
it's
There's
for
something
sale
going
now,
in
but
there.
yeah, you're right.
Was that right?
It was antique, it was
Yeah.
some kind of exercise fitness
Yeah.
place.
Well, my understanding is it's a physical fitness place now, and
Oh, right,
It's
that's right
not.
across the way here from the town hall, there's a.
No,
new-
D-Roy's was at one time.
It used
but
to
They
be.
were, but right
closed.
now,
They're
they,
becoming a,
so they wouldn't have to come in and site plan again because it was at one time a physical fitness place. If another physical fitness place wanted to be in there, even though it's been everything else but since then?
There shouldn't have to be.
right, and the girl that's in there now that came in and did a site plan is opening up where she's going to be offering crafts by consignment, you know, that she'll have craft people who bring in their stuff and display it, but it's all by numbers, so if you go in and buy something off table one, that table one
Okay.
person, you know, she's the one that's got it. They're going to have a doggy shampoo service or something in
No,
there.
that's never been there.
Well,
But she did come in and site plan, so, and, you know, that was taken care of. I do not know, I haven't been up there, it doesn't look like there's really a whole lot going on there
it will be
yet.
soon. They got pull permits, so.
Okay,
for that kind
Yeah.
of the craft
So,
business?
did they,
So-
I'm sorry.
Why was my phone call? The person that called me doesn't know what they're talking about.
well, now, they did open an
That's-
exercise place
that's
right
new.
across from us. You know, right across the street. But-
Here?
Yeah.
Did they
Yeah.
site plan?
No, they didn't site plan.
There's never been an exercise place in there.
They weren't doing anything except moving in.
This is, so
Across the
this
street?
might be the antique
So
place
that's
that
a
they're
change,
talking
that's a
about.
change of use.
Yeah.
I think it
This
is.
might be the antique place that they're
Yeah.
talking about, that now there's a physical fitness place.
Right,
So,
right here.
Why wouldn't they have
Why-
site planned?
Because you can have a change of use as long as it doesn't affect other things, and it wasn't affecting those other things that are right on the list of what we have for when is the site plan required.
okay.
Whoa.
She did fill out, do I need to do a site plan? She filled one of those out, and it came to the board read it and said, no, she doesn't need to do a site plan.
So she came before the board. Okay.
Her application.
And they said
Yes,
no. Okay.
right.
Interesting.
But it's a physical fitness place now.
Yeah, the other night they were, you know, the only thing I said is, I would think most of those women, because they're in there jumping up and down, and they're little, oh, excuse me, they don't use the word leotards anymore. I don't know what they call them today, the bodysuits. But anyway, I said I thought they would,
Way out of my league.
they would prefer to have a curtain over that big window instead of people walking by and watching them jump down and do that.
Set up a chair on the sidewalk and sell tickets. I need a site plan for that.
If I were jumping up and down over there in a picture window, you'd need a site plan, trust me.
But anyway,
All right,
the
all
other
right,
place
that
is
answered my
going to
question.
be a craft place.
A craft place, okay, that must be the one that they're talking about, all right. Al, you got something for us tonight?
Chestnut parking, we never voted to make that no parking like we were gonna last year.
We talked about Chestnut, High, Cedar,
A
And
particular
Prospect.
person called up about Chestnut though, because we said there's plenty of parking off the street itself. Everybody has a place to park. So we were gonna vote on it, we were gonna put up no parking signs all the way up through for the wintertime.
make it on one side, no parking on one side, we
Make the
we
whole-
talked about last year. Or making it a one-way, because the church wasn't allowing us to park there.
Right, we said it wasn't feasible to do one way, so we were gonna talk about no parking.
Right, no parking at
Because
all.
everybody has a place to put their cars.
I thought we already had a town ordinance that didn't allow them to park
It doesn't.
between a certain date and a certain date.
On
For
overnight.
plowing.
Overnight, but this is during the day, too, that's talking
no
about.
parking in the
Right.
wintertime.
This is during the day.
Yeah.
Well, what about people that park on the side of the other streets?
Well, no, I'm just
saying, why are we-
This particular person brought up Chestnut.
But why are we doing it just for Chestnut?
We're not.
We're not, I mean, we don't have to. I'm
The
just
guy
saying-
that called lived on Chestnut, but we're not talking about Chestnut, Winter, the rest of
But
them, right?
didn't we read our ordinance, and it does say you can't have a car on the street in the wintertime with a snowstorm?
Right.
Because what happens...
But it's not identified on those streets.
Well,
And if
you
you don't
look
read
at
the
Chestnut,
ordinance-
if you look at Chestnut, everybody has a place for their vehicles.
Yep.
And if you look at High Street, everybody has a place for their vehicles, and Cedar Street the same way. However, if you have company over, and
A repair truck,
a repair truck, anything,
I
a
think there's-
carpenter, anything,
But I think there's
it
a,
snowballs.
But
There's a
that's
common
true
sense
everywhere in the
everywhere.
downtown
Yeah.
village area.
even in my area, even
Even
on my
in
street, there's no
Lockmere.
parking.
But the problem
Wherever you
that
have a
I see
cluster.
is...
Who would wanna
how many
park on
phone
your
calls
street?
did we get? They didn't clean the snow in front of my house.
well, in the old days.
Well,
Look
you
out your
know,
window.
your car's in the way, what do you expect to happen? You know, so and then, you know, when I found out that a couple of our plow drivers are actually tooting their horns for somebody to come out and move their cars so they can plow, that just slows down the whole process.
I don't think that there's an easy solution, because last year, when, if you remember, we were talking about this, trying to find a resolve in, for everyone that wanted us to put no parking on one side, or no parking, or allowing them to park, there was one that said, I want my sidewalk cleared, and if you remember, they're painted sidewalks on some of the street that were plowed, and cars were parking there because they couldn't park
Right.
close by their driveways.
So the sidewalks weren't getting done?
And they were complaining because the sidewalks weren't plowed. So
And they
now
had to
the
walk in the
dogs-
street, and the kids had to walk in the street, I remember that.
Walking their dogs and everything, and me too, I had to walk my dog in the street, but, I mean, that's life too. Growing up, I had to walk in the street too, but
I think they're looking for identification on the street to say no parking, like we do downtown, from a certain date to a certain date.
Right.
And then it's posted, it's eliminated.
Right.
Everybody knows what it is, because not everybody's gonna pick up the ordinance and go,
I think what's
I
happening
can't
on...
park during
You'd have
the
to post
wintertime.
I think
Hotel.
what's happening on Chestnut, if I remember correctly, is there are certain houses that get more than an abundance of company, and they take up parking in front of other houses going down the street, and I think that that's an issue.
The problem is we're not enforcing
Right.
laws and ordinances. It's against the law to park, or to even to drive your vehicle across the sidewalk, unless it's to enter
Right.
a permitted driveway. I mean, it's like we have a situation that's going on out here. The person is violating that state law.
But if you look at, if you go up High
The
Street...
laundromat.
If you go up High
No,
Street,
that's a
Catherine...
permitted
That's
parking
private
lot.
They can drive across that entire, any place across that
That's right,
sidewalk.
because it's a permitted parking lot.
Right. But if
With no driveway cut?
There's a driveway cut.
Then how can they drive the whole thing is a driveway cut?
Yes.
If you drive up, High Street, going towards High Street Extension, going towards Cedar Street from Chestnut, on the right-hand side, there's a sidewalk portion of the way, and then it's painted. If you allow the vehicle to end their tires on the painted portion of the sidewalk and then come out towards the road, you cannot make that turn into Cedar, or you cannot make the turn from Cedar to High Street. It's impossible to make
Never mind,
that
get a
turn.
fire truck through there.
Right.
It's impossible for you to do. That's why we put it on hold and said we'd get back to the discussion because of,
But we also,
Matt Dawson and Dickie Paulus came in and said you can't physically make that turn coming in or going out there.
That's why you put a sign up that says, no parking from this sign to the corner,
right.
period.
Well, that would be that whole section.
Right, so you could do that.
But shouldn't we look at the whole downtown to do
I
that?
was going to say,
Because if we
why
do it for one area, we're going to get phone calls from another.
can't we just say from November, right now, our
We
thing
do.
says from November 15th to April 15th, or whatever it is, no parking on town streets.
You do that,
It
and
already
I know
says
that's in an
that.
ordinance,
But it's
not-
from 10 PM to
10 p.m.
to 7 AM or something like
If you just
that.
make it no parking in the winter, that way it doesn't matter whether you got a storm at 2 in the afternoon or in the middle of the night.
Most communities do that. I think when we first brought the ordinance to town meeting, they all went, ah! I think that might have,
Well,
I'd have
that's
to
really
check.
hard, though. I mean, I have two
Yeah.
vehicles in my driveway. If Jane comes to visit me, she parks on the side of the road. She's probably there a couple hours and then leaves.
In violation.
Never be able to do that. She would be in violation.
That's right. Then if you've got a day, if,
That might
you know,
be good, though. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, we've had winters where it hard,
She didn't mean it, Jane.
so how are you going to justify doing that?
I know. You can't.
So it's really by enforcement.
Yep.
And I'm just saying we should look at all of it. Maybe we start with this neighborhood.
Yep.
And then we continue on, but.
Right, but we should put signs up that say, no parking, such a date, bang, bang, done.
Because
And then
I
no
know
parking
that
at the
zoning-
corner.
No parking from here to the corner.
At all,
It
ever.
eliminates it.
I know
Then
the
you start there,
zoning got
and they're gonna
changed.
come on, and
Well,
on,
you know,
and
the
on.
problem I have with
So it's-
signage is,
Solutions are done.
when I walk in here from Town Hall, there's always cars parked where it says no parking.
Oh, I
In
know.
fact, yesterday morning, there were two of them.
Yeah.
There was one on this side of the sign and one on the other. There's
Oh,
nobody,
it's Town Hall. They'll be
nobody's
okay.
sitting there waiting. They were up,
Yeah. What about the?
In front of the
whoever
apartment
is-
building.
Parks in the grass next door.
Do you,
Well, if
All we need is somebody to write tickets.
so without enforcement, but
you'd have to go on you'd have to add posts to the signage because there are some streets that don't have poles, and their poles are too far away to add, like Chestnut,
a lot of our streets don't have signage.
right?
They're not identified.
Right. High Street's another one, because there's
That was
houses,
awful.
it's in front of their houses,
Right.
that particular section.
Right.
High Street Extension wouldn't be too bad, but High Street, Maple Court's another one. I mean, there's a pole right at the corner of my property, but then what above that? Nothing.
Go right down on River Road. I'll
There's another
guarantee
one.
you, every day you go down there, someone's
Yeah.
parked in the road,
Yeah.
Yep.
In the,
On the sidewalk.
actually like this, not even parallel,
Right,
like this.
at an angle, yep. I've been there,
So we gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
right.
So if we
I
start
totally agree
there
with you.
and just start, and let it flourish out.
there you go, that's a good idea.
Yellow is existing
Let's start somewhere.
sidewalks.
Yep.
Can't keep talking
Green
about it.
is
is painted.
the proposed no parking.
So what are you proposing, Al?
We can start with that street, put the
Dennis is
the
That a
concerned.
motion?
sign from the corner.
Difficult to
I make a
bring
motion that we
posts
start with
aside.
Chestnut, putting parking, no parking signs,
Just as a
and
reminder.
restrictions on date to date,
Great.
And right now, the
whatever the
signs,
dates are, whatever
the
you want
one
to make
there
them.
in front of Prospect Street. is
Oh, you
no
want to
parking
sign them?
Overnight.
Second discussion. You want to sign them for,
Wait, the motion is for what?
What
So
is,
start with Chestnut, putting signage up.
I
Okay.
was going to clarify. So you're talking about putting it up for snow events, for the winter
Correct.
stuff?
Correct,
And then no parking from
Signs that say-
corner
During the day?
to, from here to here for the corner?
right.
no parking to corner?
At all. during the day at all?
No, nothing, because you're telling me if they make that corner, if something's parked there, you can't make it. So we don't want no parking
High
there
Street.
whatsoever.
Not, that's, not
I'm just saying,
start with Chestnut,
start
right?
with Chestnut.
Okay,
Oh, we're gonna
so
get
no
flooded with
parking
calls.
from here to the corner if that's a problem.
Correct.
And then no, what is the other sign gonna say?
When you say from here to the corner, what corner?
We're
High
talking
Street.
Chestnut Street only, Joyce.
Okay, I
Right.
got that.
Here to the corner would be Main Street to, is it High Street? No,
Not
Well, you
Main
got your
Street.
little map there.
Main Street is the corner of Chestnut Street.
I thought you meant the High Street corner where you can't park, if you parked a car there, you can't
No.
make the corner.
Al's talking to only Chestnut
We're
Street.
starting with Chestnut right now.
Oh, well
Okay,
then, so
and
you're
what's that
taking
sign
out
gonna
the
say?
corner-to-corner one part.
So,
Yeah, the corner sign's not
High
there.
Street,
Right.
What
to
are,
the corner of High Street.
okay, what is the signs on
Oh, I-
Chestnut gonna say?
What dates do we use now?
I think
This
it's
is
November
green
15th
is
to April
proposed.
15th?
No parking is
The dates that we
green.
use now.
Yeah.
What about up
The
here?
current date's no parking period?
Correct.
No
That's what I mean.
parking. And this is just for Chestnut?
Was this the corner?
April.
Well, I think if we're gonna set this as a
corner you were
rule,
talking about.
we're starting with Chestnut,
Oh,
and
this
we'll
is the
flourish from
corner here
there.
that I was talking
Okay,
about.
no
We should have to vote
parking,
on
Do
that.
one a week.
Yeah.
okay, no parking from, what is it now, November 1 to?
15th to the April 15th.
November 15th.
It's tomorrow, right.
April, November 15 to April 15.
Yep.
Okay, so that's on Chestnut, we're going to start there, and it's going to say no parking from November 15th to April 15th.
Correct.
And then there's a no parking from here to corner.
Oh, well, that'll be another street.
That'll be another street traffic.
Okay, all right, all
But
right.
we're gonna throw that in, we're gonna throw that into the motion because we're gonna use it.
Yeah,
It's gonna be for all the streets that need it. We should, should be the motion,
There you go.
right.
because it's gonna happen.
Second.
That will be the motion.
Okay, so all streets, not just Chestnut, all streets that need it, but now,
In the village?
in the village, why don't we start with the village district?
okay.
And that way, that's all those little streets that
Yep.
are up there.
Okay.
So that would include Maple, Poplar, Cedar,
Maple,
Spruce,
poplar,
High,
spruce,
Chestnut, West, Prospect.
west, prospect.
Do we include Pine?
Academy.
All of them.
Yeah. all-
Academy, Pine,
Daniel?
Daniel,
Daniel,
Highland, and Linden?
Yep.
Highland and Linden,
Highland
If
and
it's in the
Linden.
district, there's no sense to exclude any of them.
and Linden. Okay, let me see if I got them all. So we have.
Maybe we'll get
Maple-
some people to come to the
Maple,
selectmen's
poplar,
meeting.
Spruce, High,
Start
Those
with-
signs go up.
West, Prospect, Academy, Pine, Daniel, Highland, and Linden. What did I forget?
Cedar,
Cedar,
Chestnut.
Cedar and Chestnut.
Now, are we permanently installing these? These are not going to be seasonal signs?
These are permanent.
These are
Permanent.
permanent?
Yes.
Just want to make sure it's,
And they're
Yeah,
just
because-
gonna say no parking
From November 15 to April 15.
on street.
Or on-street parking.
Right.
And if, when we get to the corner ones,
there's probably signage, we might want to talk to the chief, because maybe we need to cite the ordinance as
I don't,
per Tilton ordinance, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, or something.
I would have a hard time, because I live there, I have a hard time approving that because you're eliminating anyone that comes over to visit with them. They don't have parking at all.
This is, are you having this 24 hours a day?
Yep.
our ordinance.
That's what no
Oh,
parking
no, our
on any.
ordinance is from, is,
I just asked that question.
Isn't
It's
there
just
time?
10 PM to 7 a.m.,
Yeah.
7
Well,
a.m.
that's what you do. We use the ordinance.
Okay.
Use the
Okay,
ordinance.
so
Wait
it
a
would
minute,
be
that
no
wasn't the
parking.
motion.
That wasn't the
We're
motion.
making a
Thank you,
motion
Joe, I
that
appreciate that.
Okay, so we're going to say no parking from November 15th to April 15th from 10 PM to...
Whatever the
7
ordinance says on our,
Whatever the ordinance
Well, I kept
says.
saying whatever the ordinance says.
Now, there's a motion on the floor.
Well, let's-
He made it, Catherine seconded it.
We're gonna correct it.
he's going to amend it.
We're gonna amend it. I amended to say that.
So
Yeah.
we vote on the amendment, then we vote on the ordinance?
You just
Then we vote on the motion?
withdraw it and just start new. Withdraw it.
Withdraw it, Alex.
I draw my amendment.
Withdraw
I
everything.
draw it.
I need more chocolate.
Robert's rule in action.
Yeah, talk about it and then make the motion.
All right.
All right.
Are you looking for our traffic ordinance, Catherine?
This, folks, is a do-over.
I'm sorry, Catherine, what'd you say?
The winter policy.
Our winter policy.
Oh, we have that right here on our machines.
Yeah. It's on the website,
Oh, my machine died.
under ordinances.
You need a new computer.
I'll quick print one. It's the traffic and parking ordinance.
Right. What does it say with a time for no parking?
I'm looking for. Hold on. Definitions right now.
Ordinances and policies.
Direct traffic, obedience, stopping, standing.
Oh, I know where it is. It's in my file cabinet.
Well, they're going to tell us what the time is.
Okay, parking regulations. I'm just going to read them all. Enforcement hours of operation on Main Street will be from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. There will be no enforcement of time-restricted spaces on Sundays and holidays, except in the case of overnight parking, which will be enforced 7 days per week. The Board of Selectmen, Chief of Police, or designee may suspend parking regulations at any time to accommodate functions or during times of emergency, road construction, or licensed events. That's one of them. And then there's penalties. Handicap parking, traffic regulations.
Well,
Okay.
that's our winter policy. We need our winter policy.
Yeah, the winter policy for...
That's the one we want.
That's the one we were looking for before, Sandy. Remember we couldn't find that? We couldn't find it. Here's overnight parking. It shall be unlawful to park any vehicle on either side of Main Street in the downtown area from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. There will be no overnight parking in any municipal lots.
That's our parking ordinance.
Yeah, that's parking.
Okay,
I know there's a snow one.
Yes. There's one about snow.
In the snow removal.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says snow removal.
Nope.
All right, well, let's,
I've read it.
we got that one.
Maybe I'm
That'd be
thinking
something
about the
about-
snow
Talking
event
about
parking in
Dennis's
the
winter
parking lot
policy?
back there.
Yes.
I'm the one who wrote that policy.
Okay, we got it right here.
Okay? Read what it says.
Reduction, highways, sidewalk maintenance, plow, parking bans. That's parking bans.
Yes.
Here we go. This might not be it. Parking bans along Main Street and within the municipal parking lots are generally posted in anticipation of final cleanup operations.
No.
That's not it. Pushing back snowbanks,
I'm not seeing
No.
anything on this.
miscellaneous. That's all there is.
Well, I know, because he hangs signs every year, no parking from 10-something to whatever time in the morning.
Remember, Sandy, we went through the ordinance book looking?
Yeah. That there was an old one.
Catherine will have it.
Yeah, that's how we resolved it. We said Catherine will have it.
Yes, we decided Catherine will have it. We'll get it from
We
her.
stopped looking.
I don't know, this is I wrote the policy,
Yeah.
so this is,
It ain't in here.
I don't think I see, don't see a final draft in here, I just see all the,
I don't see anything in here on it.
Well, if that's it, let's make some copies so people...
well, it's in my computer. I saw it the other day. But this is what I came to the selectmen with all the changes.
Yeah.
And then what Dennis did is Dennis added the streets after we had our,
Meeting?
a little tinker.
Am I missing something here?
Yes.
Sandy, that's what I'm printing now is the winter maintenance policy. That should be the one that has all the roads in it.
Where did you find that? On your drive?
This is under town policies. It's called Winter Maintenance Policy and Procedure Manual, Overview of DPW Operations.
I can tell you when we accepted it.
And it lists all the roads.
It's supposed to be, all of those ordinances were supposed to be downloaded to our computer.
It is.
And-
It's a top one.
Where?
Well, if you go
Under
to-
agreements?
Right in the ordinances.
Where?
Winter
Go to
maintenance
the
policy,
website,
procedure
It's got a
manual.
thing that says ordinances.
Are you on the drive?
Yep. Well, plans, tax deeds. Can you go over that for a second? Go back to the
That's-
town one?
person, including handicapped placard or licensed vehicle, shall park any vehicle on a public way or sidewalk within the town of Tilton in such a way as to
ordinance,
hinder the streets of Tilton by the town of Tilton. The
You doing anything?
highway director may authorize a snow removal parking ban. Broadcasting of the ban may be in one or more of the following manners. Town website, radio, so, piling snow, no person shall, walking disabilities, traffic regulations. It doesn't have the time.
Right.
Parking bans. Bans along Main Street, municipality.
Yep. It just says, you know, all it says is within the
Yeah,
town such a way as to hinder the
There's parking
removal of
bans
snow
in
from
town.
streets in the town of Tilton.
Main Street.
So that's technically saying stay off.
Oh, there's a time on the sign, I can, trust me, there is a time on that sign.
We couldn't find the ordinance.
Because it probably
Is
isn't.
it a permanent sign or a temporary sign?
It's a temporary, it's cardboard, it's tacked up, he just did it
So-
a few weeks ago, Zach, actually.
Okay, then he,
He induced that.
by this, he determined the time.
Well, there's signs all over town though, they have times on them. I know at the end of.
No, I think we had the time that we said, from what I understand, that the time was very specific to an ordinance.
It's on the downtown, on the Main Street.
Nope.
H-I-J-H-I.
Winter maintenance.
These signs have not been changed for years.
I don't
Correct.
need that, that's for the board.
Oh, okay. Here's some,
Well, look at me,
this
look
is the one we just signed. That's the one that all of us signed, right here. And that's got a winter section in it, but it doesn't have any specific time.
Time, right. I can't find nothing on this with times either.
But I remember we read it, one that it has the times, and there's signs all over town, and I think it's November 15th to April 15th.
I think so too.
Oh, I know it's November 15th, April 15th, because I just told my tenants.
Yeah.
I can't find
I can't remember whether it's 7 AM or 6 AM.
Yeah.
In our regular town of
6 a.m.
Tilton traffic and parking regulations, there is a section 8 that says no parking areas, and it says street, no parking area, and that you're supposed to indicate the side of the street, but there's nothing in there.
Well,
Right to section
I don't know
I.
what happened to the old one, but I know I've seen it.
We've got it. I know we've got it.
Yeah, I do too, but I don't know where it went to.
it. It's in the wrong place, because
And
I
I
can't
think
find
the
it.
last time we got it, Catherine made us copies
I'm
of
gonna go
it.
look in my file. Oh,
I have copies of some old ordinances here.
Well, I know there was one about snow removal.
Mark 1964. 1964, an ordinance relative to the parking of motor vehicle in streets during the winter months. No person shall park or cause to be parked any motor vehicle on any street, highway, or sidewalk within the town of Tilton between the hours of 12 o'clock midnight and 6 a.m. Any motor vehicle so parked as to be in violation of Section 1 of this ordinance shall be prima facie evidence that the registered owner of said motor vehicle is the person responsible and liable for said motor vehicle to be so parked.
Wow.
1964.
Lawyer wrote that.
Yep.
No such person shall be liable to a fine, the amount of which shall not exceed $1.
We can change the fine, can't we?
This was signed by
Who's gonna abide by
Selectmen
it?
Charles Prescott, Myron Meserve, and Donald Jocelyn.
Myron Meserve.
Don Jocelyn?
Myron
Mr. Prescott, before he became our police chief.
And Nellie Wigan was town clerk.
Remember it?
We all know how that ended.
Myron?
Myron.
Byron. I'm a Byron Meserve. Byron or Myron?
Myron. He
Is that
was
Byron's brother?
Myron Meserve?
Yeah. Well, he's the same guy who owned the store. right?
Yeah, Meserve's Market.
Meserve Market, yeah. I remember that market. It was a good market.
The ordinance shall be in effect during the period between at midnight November 15th through 6 a.m. April 15th and during each subsequent period.
Even the baby of the board.
Oh, look, I have
remembers that
another, I
market.
have 2 copies of that.
You know?
Say what?
Even the baby of the board remembers that market.
Solid waste haulers.
Oh, look,
Yes,
my file includes Tinker. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bad thought to bring up.
Yes.
So we have something.
Yeah.
Now we just have to place it.
In that's your ordinance book?
This is my ordinance book.
That's 1964?
Yeah,
I don't remember, it just went past it.
that's what you
So
said.
we'll use the ordinance from
Is that what it said,
12.
67?
Yeah. Oh, I thought.
12 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. Because it's already in effect.
Yeah, I mean, we could make it for that, but we also need to have something in there.
Why
If
don't you
there's-
just use the language that you're going to...
1964.
Existing sign say?
Yeah, whatever the existing sign says is what we should enforce. But somehow, we've got to be able to say to them, if it's snowing during the day, you're expected to remove your cars so they can
Right.
plow the roads.
This is 1964. It's probably hasn't been rescinded, so it's still in effect. Why don't we take this opportunity to see what other towns have done?
Right. Well, I was looking under several towns, and there are a lot of
Are you
communities out
suggesting
there
we
that just
punt?
have no winter parking on the roads.
Here's another
I'm
one,
not gonna
winter
make an
parking
ordinance right here
duration,
right now. What a
Article
punt.
3.
Evidently. Want to do that? That's what other towns do?
Yeah,
All right.
all right, we'll take care of it next week.
As we are often fond of saying, let's not reinvent the wheel.
Yep.
I think it was Rick Manso that used to say that all the time.
Yeah, but then I've also heard, what difference does it make what other towns do? This is our town.
Because
I'm
it's-
just saying.
It gives you ideas, it tells you, if you've got a community that's been using that for 30 years and nobody's taken them to court.
Right.
So this is from Parking Ordinance, Chapter 200, Traffic Regulations, Tilton Town Ordinance.
Yeah.
I don't know if it says the same. No vehicle shall be parked on any public street between the hours of 10 PM and 8 AM during snowstorms or snow plowing operations by the town or its agents.
What if they're plowing during the morning? That doesn't count? I mean, that's fine.
It says or snow plowing operations.
Okay.
So it covers it.
So I like that. That pretty well covers everything. They're saying to you, if the snow comes and it's not in the middle of the night, we expect you to get your car off the street
Right.
so we can clean the road.
I'll bet this,
That just really got me last year when that one person complained that they weren't doing a good job because they left their car in the road and they had to go around the car. And he expected they would come back and clean that up after he left.
So Catherine, why don't we have that 200 ordinance on our website?
Right.
well, because the chief brought up, we were trying to change this. We never went anywhere with it. So the chief presented us with parking ordinances.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is I have 3 in my hands here, plus there's all these little ones that, see, here's another one. This was signed by Robert Foster and John McCarthy.
Who?
John McCarthy. This one has to do with, this is a bicycle ordinance, bicycles and skateboards.
Oh, they probably can't be on the sidewalk?
So, we're not looking,
One up here either.
but we're not looking at our old ordinances and being uniform in this. It's kind of like right
Why
now.
wouldn't an old ordinance, unless it was rescinded, be a part of any new packaging of ordinances?
I have a file
We have
called...
to rescind them.
Well, if it
Right.
was never rescinded,
Then it's still in effect.
then why wouldn't it have been in with our book of ordinances? That was my question. It
I
just
don't
got
know.
missed? or-
I found a lot of these just digging.
Who holds the book of
Reading,
ordinances?
I've read every selectman.
Downstairs on the...
She has the book of ordinances, and we went through her book
Yeah.
and
couldn't find
scanned
it.
these all on this website, it says from the town clerk's official record.
When I became a selectman, I read every single selectman's minute
Oh, in the minute?
from 18 whatever to the present. And as I did that, I made notes and copied stuff. I went looking. I've gone through the vault, I can't tell you how many times, and when I find something, I go, "Ooh, copy that."
Well, can we copy your book?
Sure, but it's, it's, like I said, see, here's another one right here.
Does one cancel one out?
Not really. We don't address a lot of things, like in the state of New Hampshire, if I ride my horse up to the Hampton Inn and they give me lodging, they gotta provide lodging for my horse. It's still on the books. Nobody's gotten rid of it.
Who does?
If I ride my horse and carriage or bareback or whatever up to a lodging establishment in the state of New Hampshire, and they give me lodging, they gotta provide lodging for my horse.
Well, if
Oh, I love it.
town clerk's the official keeper of the record, why doesn't she have?
To rent a horse somewhere.
Because no one handed them to her when they were created. I mean, you have to hand it to her. It's not her responsibility to go, "Did you write an ordinance?" I mean, some of these are old. I mean, well, you can see, 1964? How do we know they didn't, or a lot of our files end up in the, I don't know. You're looking for explanations, and I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but, stuff that's messed up, we're human.
I have paid documents of parking sample ordinances, Chapter 18, this is the municipal code for parking, restricted parking, parking meters, access,
Yeah, that's when,
penalties.
that's when we were
That's-
talking about it.
That's when we were making,
We were trying, and we never went forward with it.
I
So
should
I have
hold on to
3
these.
different ones in my hand.
all right, I'm going to hold on to these just in case. Yep. And then I have Tilton downtown parking.
Hey, no person shall operate a motor vehicle at greater speed than 50 miles per hour on Chestnut Street, Prospect Street, or Pleasant Street.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
50?
50?
15.
Oh,
50.
That's 1972.
We just changed it to 15 recently.
Yeah, but
It's always been 15.
2011.
turns out it's always been 15.
Since 1972.
I think we need to come up with a definitive ordinance book here.
Yeah.
What's good, what's not.
Right.
This is silly.
I think that's a good winter charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go over our ordinances and see what's good and what's not, and
Well, in the meantime, why don't we,
get them.
to deal with these signs, let's get this done in the next week or two, not drop the ball on it.
Okay.
Well, we do have to work on our littering ordinance, right?
We have to have something for town meeting. I thought the recycling committee was going to suggest something for us.
Joe, you didn't
We're also
sign
going
these.
to do our hawkers and peddlers.
I didn't see it.
We want to
I want to see it, but I didn't see it.
put in that we can require criminal records check.
Oh, good call, yes.
That would be our time if we wanted to rewrite it the way the selectmen want it, and then we can at town meeting rescind that one and replace it with the new one that's a little more up to date.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because currently the hawkers and peddlers at town meeting, they just adopted the RSA.
Right, and also to have it, take it out of the
No
hands of town meeting.
options
so
for the
selectmen
state that we have to.
Right.
Can do it outside of town meeting. Make
That way, if we need,
outside of town
if we need to amend it or something, we can.
But I would write a warrant article that would allow the selectmen to amend the
Right.
hawkers and peddlers ordinance. You just
Yep.
Not rescind it, just leave it alone.
Yep.
Because you can't undo a state law. That stands.
Right.
I know, but in your new ordinance, you would be referencing the state law. So
Right.
You get the one completely out.
So just get us permission to do it.
Get permission to completely
Oh, this isn't
get that
mine.
one
This
out,
is
and
mine.
here's the selectmen's.
Yeah.
I just printed this out from the website,
Oh,
so you should keep it from,
this is
with yours.
this is what's on the website.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Make a note on it.
All right,
So what would your motion be, or do you want to wait till next week?
we might as well wait
We're
and
gonna wait.
create
Okay.
something.
Okay.
In the meantime, can I work with Catherine to make copies of those to give to Cindy, so Cindy can put them in her town clerk's book?
We don't want Cindy to put those in the town thing because they contradict each other.
We want to go over them,
Yeah.
find out what's contradictory
Yeah.
and fix it, so that we can clean it up once and for all. That's what I
That's what
think
we
we
need to
want,
do.
that's what we do.
Now,
Okay.
where is this?
Joe,
For the,
do you have stuff for us?
The only thing that I have to say is that, for those who are unaware, that Councilor Ray Burton passed away
Thank you, Joe.
just the other day, and I would like to thank Ray posthumously, as it turns out, for all of the work that he did on the behalf of the town of Tilton and his residents, as well as the rest of his district and the state. No one person can replace Ray Burton.
No.
And thank you, Ray.
That's for sure.
yes.
So our heartfelt prayers go out to his family. I believe that services are going to be at the Plymouth State University to be announced, but we don't know what the date's going to be just yet. But according to,
That's going to be one of the largest attended
They
services.
can have a bar, serve beer and wine.
They're not gonna show you.
Right.
I'm not either.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. But
No, it says they are.
You're not allowed.
They are.
there's a card here, I'm lost for words, because how can you say something to the family that he will be profoundly missed? I suggest that we have Joyce send a letter from us
I was going to include a letter in that
in this with
card.
with the card. Okay. All right, then we got to do this. The other small thing that we have to address is, are we still going to go ahead with lighting, even though Northfield doesn't want to participate?
I would like to do some Christmas decorating.
Yeah.
Makes it better for and you know how I hate to spend tax money frivolously, but I don't think this is frivolous at all.
I think that it will look lovely, and I think our citizens, as they're going through town, would enjoy seeing some lights on the island.
I think one of the other thing too is a lot of people forget is a lot of people will go to communities. I think we all know of spots, like this places all over where I always took my kids to see the
Oh,
lights.
golly, yes. In Laconia, they used to have the lights, and
Yeah.
I remembered that so fondly, and of course, they don't do it now. We should do, I would love to.
The more we make Main Street festive, the more people will come and shop with our merchants.
Right. They'll stop and,
Yeah.
see what's here while they're...
Come to town to see the lights. And hopefully, the parade will have a great attendance if we...
What is the date of the parade, by the way?
I have to look at the calendar. I think it's the first Saturday. Oh, here, I can tell you. I can tell you exactly.
Saturday is the 7th, Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, I have the notice over here. December 7th. The formation time at the Union Sanborn School is 3 o'clock. The parade will depart at 4, and the fireworks will be at 6. The parade route is Elm Street to Cannon Bridge to Main Street to the high school.
Oh, to the high school. Okay, count me in.
We got cut off last year.
Oh, it doesn't matter, it's for the town. As long as we have candy to give out, doesn't matter. We didn't cut that budget, right?
The candy?
Ooh.
I'll be handing out a letter to the merchants tomorrow. Well, I think tomorrow, I'm waiting for a response from the commissioners, but to ask them to light up their storefronts.
There is a note in here for FYI from the Unitarian Universalists for poinsettias. They have their annual poinsettia sale. Their 6.5-inch pot is $14.
Thank you.
7.5-inch pot is $20. If you want to get a couple for our Christmas party, I don't care what's the consensus. They go bigger, so. One for down on the counter there for town clerk. Make it festive. Congresswoman Carol Shea Porter will be at Tilton Town Hall, November 21st, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. for all constituents.
Do we? This goes with the Catherine thing, decorating downstairs.
We need to give her permission if you want to give her. If
Well,
it's
doesn't she have
consensus.
permission to decorate?
Yeah, she does, that's true.
We gave her permission to decorate for the party,
Okay.
I think.
Well, then just, let's make her aware of it.
Well, we.
Oh, yeah, she's
If
not
that's for
here.
the party, do you want one to come into town hall by the town clerk's?
I think it should be festive.
Yes.
Now, I'm all for Christmas decoration,
Joyce?
Yep.
For the.
non-denominational. No crucifixes, let's keep it just Christmassy. Some people get offended. I mean, I'm not offended, but some people do.
Venue for the Christmas party, we were going to get some Christmas decorations.
Yep.
And we were going to get estimates on wreaths. You gave
Okay.
permission for the wreaths.
Well, there's
This
some.
is something new.
This is Samberton Unitarian Universalist Church.
Yeah.
For, they did, I believe, they came to us last year too, didn't they?
Isn't that up by the,
It's in the FYI
is that
file.
in the square?
It was
What?
wreaths, because
This
I remember
church.
last
It was
we didn't.
The one in the square. Universal.
There is a, I don't know what the name of
Samberton
that
Historical
church is.
Society does the wreaths.
Okay,
This is something different.
Okay.
Gail Morrison.
Yep.
But whatever.
okay, so we can go ahead and get some.
Would kind of be nice to have something coming into where,
I think we should be festive. We're never festive. We always look
It
kind
used to
of,
be.
You never look
we
festive
used to
anyway.
be, but we're not festive anymore.
do you think being festive is going to help us feel festive?
Yes!
I hope so.
I am always in.
Tilton has.
Could you give a double shot up here?
I think we should have a Kwanzaa room and
Hilton's a party kind of town.
It's a holiday gathering.
We're spiking the punch.
That explains a lot.
All right.
covering the room.
Outstanding.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second, it's non-debatable, I vote yes.
Y'all want to do that? I'm with you. I'm here now.
Okay then. Merry Christmas.